Hello and welcome to Dice Punks, a tabletop role-playing podcast where we focus on playing full campaigns in less well-known systems. This week, however, is our second annual Halloween one-shot, and we're playing a particularly scary session of Songs of Myself by Erika Chappell. Hello and welcome. I'm Adam, your frightful neighborhood game master, and joining me are...
I'm Drew, and I'll be your heart for the day.
I'm Robin, and I'm the brains of this operation.
I'm Dez, and I, as the body, will carry us through.
Excellent.
I should have said that I will be the beating of the hideous... No, it's fine. It's fine.
That would have been so good.
Okay, look, but if you do that, you have to give the Bela Lugosi delivery from the recording of the Telltale Heart that he did, which, you know, maybe not is not going to be kind to your voice early in a recording session.
Yeah, it's like a high screech, isn't it? It's the beating of the hideous... Ah! Yeah, it's like... Yeah,
it's really drawn out, too.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
It's great. If you
have you guys seen the delightful and nonsensical tweet? I understand why Bela Lugosi had to die in order for the song to come out, but I really would have liked it if it had happened in the other order.
I have not seen this, but that was pretty funny.
It's very good.
Well, okay. Let's get started. But before we get started, let's briefly explain what the heck we're doing today. First off, last year, Joanne GM'd a heckin' adorable session of tricks, treats, and spooky streets for us for Halloween, but this year, I'm up to bat for a seasonal one-shot, and I'm way less good at overwhelming cutitude than I am at the menacing and macabre. That, combined with the system I chose to test drive, means that this is going to be a horror episode. Not one without light or levity, and not one in which we're trying to be edgy for its own sake, but you can expect psychological horror in particular, and there's the potential for some dire subject matter, maybe a non-zero amount of violence or blood or light gore. There's possibly some body horror. Among other goals, I'll be trying to create...
Run by Adam. It's exactly as likely as you think.
Body horror,
it will depend a lot. This is a
heart horror.
A highly...
Fair. Not all of the horror is going to be mine.
This is a highly reactive, improvisational kind of thing, so I'm trying to cover all the bases. But, among other goals, I'll be trying to create an atmosphere of mounting dread, tension, suspense, and fear, so assuming that I succeed, proceed, if that's what you're in the mood for. Hopefully, it's seasonally appropriate, fun, and affecting for all who choose to join us. So, what exactly are we playing? Well, a little while back, Erika Chappell released a free, very short system called Songs of Myself, which attempts a lightweight recreation of the dynamics and vibes of the 2019 video game Disco Elysium. Now, while incredible, that game is currently the subject of a controversy over the development studio forcing out the original creators, essentially stealing the intellectual property rights to a deeply personal project and paracosm from them. I won't get into it too much here. I'll try to link an article about it in the show notes, but suffice it to say that for us, our use of this system is because of my excitement for the system and an idea that I had for a creepy thing I could do with it. If it makes you excited for Disco Elysium, please refrain from giving the studio any of your money. That said, here's how it plays. As you heard up top, each of our players controls an aspect of one character in the game world: heart, mind, or body. I, as the GM, control the senses and communicate everything going on outside of our unfortunate to the aspects. Now, the aspects don't know who we are, where we are, what we're doing, or why. In the words of the rules themselves, this person has poor impulse control, a messy history, and retrograde amnesia. You do not know who they are, what they look like, anything at all about them beyond the aspects. The person who you are is gone for now, broken apart into these pieces because when all the pieces are together, the picture is too horrible to bear. If you can get through today, maybe the pieces can find a new way to fit together. So in order to accomplish things in the world, the heart, which controls speaking and relating to others, the mind, which controls knowledge and reasoning, and the body, which controls movement and physical impulses, collaborate among themselves to guide our unfortunate to the end of the day or night And they roll 1d6 whenever I ask them to, which will be frequently. Each aspect has 3 knacks, which each of our players came up with for their aspect prior to this recording. Knacks are things we were practiced enough at before whatever happened to us that our facility remains even when everything else is gone. If a given roll involves or touches on a knack, then the player gets to roll 2d6 and take the higher value. A 6 is a successful result that, goes easily, and if you roll 2 6s on, 2 or more dice, then it even impresses onlookers and restores a bit of our dignity in the process. On a 4 to 5, the action succeeds, but at some cost. On a 2 or a 3, the action fails, and the failure hurts. On a 1, we screw up royally, torpedoing our dignity and chances of future success, often by indulging the kinds of reckless impulses and self-destructive thinking that got us here in the first place. And that brings us to the other half of each aspect, their intrusive thoughts. Whether maladaptive strategies, bad habits, addictions, or just mental patterns, or something else entirely, they trip us up, crowbar their way past our attempts at rational behavior, and let an aspect take over the actions of a different aspect, where they would normally have full control. When an intrusive thought is indulged, whether voluntarily or as the result of rolling a 1, the aspect in question gets a token. Tokens can be used for extra dice, for extra information, or to recall another knack during the game. Tokens can also be earned by aspects choosing and then achieving objectives during play, so they should, I think, be easy come, easy go. We'll see. So that's it. Whoever we are, we have a job to do by the end of the day or night while trying to piece ourselves back together and just plain survive. I'm intending to let our knacks and intrusive thoughts come up through gameplay as they would for our character in the world. But for now, we can maybe remind everyone of who's playing which aspect and get into it.
Well, once again, I'm Drew, and once again, if you hear a beating of a hideous heart, that'd be me.
And I'm the plotting of a anxious mind.
And I'm the body that keeps the score.
I am already so excited, you guys. Okay, spooky mood. Gotta get into this. All right.
Hype can be spooky. Come on now.
Can't it just? All right. So
now
I'm going to set the scene.
Like a spooky hype man, like horror circus something.
Vincent Price was essentially a spooky
Adam's dream job.
I will try to remind myself here to link the Skeletones song about Vincent Price. So
that's a good one. That's a good one. Thank you again for turning me on to them. They rule.
I am so glad you've enjoyed them. So here goes. You become aware slowly. Aware again? It must be. For some part of you recognizes pain. You feel pain, and it is familiar. You are disconnected, though from what, you aren't sure. For a time, the only thread you have leading back to wherever you were before this is pain. Slowly, though, you realize that the pain is not alone, nor is it inchoate. There are lines of pain here and there, burning across an unfamiliar landscape, which in turn is stretched over a cool, exquisite, soft-flowing bedrock. There is beauty beneath, you think. Oh, you had a thought. There's a you, and that you can think. And now that you know that, and that you can know things, the present begins to resolve around you more rapidly, more concretely. The landscape, with the burning lines of pain, that's you, your body. It's stretched out on something. Something hard, something cool, something both smooth and rough at the same time. There is sound, too. Constant, but distant and confusing. The pain, different kinds of pain, is also inside you. In your head, which is the bit at the top where your attention seems to be pooling, and in sort of the middle bits. The parts of your body that don't hurt, on the surface or on the inside, are mostly subject to an unpleasant tingling feeling. Cold. You're cold. The brightest spot by far is the feeling of calm reassurance and subtle beauty seeping up into you from whatever you're lying upon. and it is a desire to orient yourself around this sensation that leads you to recall the concept of eyes. You have 2 of them, twin-linked, operating in tandem on the front of your head, and you think that you might be able to open them. Des, would you roll a d6 to open your eyes?
6.
All right. Slowly, with an almost audible creak and certainly a visceral feeling of peeling apart, you open your eyes. Some part of you expects bright light and pain, but there isn't any. The space that you're in is dark. Not completely, but almost. Above you, you see a ceiling. Very nondescript ceiling. Just out of the corner of your eye to your right, you can see windows looking up into a sky scattered with stars and clouds. And to the left is where the non-starlight is coming from, dimly from another room, you think. What do we do?
The heart wishes to know if this place feels familiar at all.
It does not. At the very least, you don't remember anything about it. It doesn't pull on you.
The body tries to sit up.
Give me another roll. This time, you can use your knack for keeps the score.
3 and a 1.
All right. So, on a 2 to 3, you fail, and things get worse. Is a quote from the rules. So, you go to sit up. There are a couple of problems with this. Parts of your body, the parts that bend, joints. They're stiff. They've been still and cold and on a hard surface for a long time. Muscles protest. But the real problem is you feel a couple things in the lines of pain from earlier tear and wince back down onto the surface below you. You move just enough, though, that the burlap covering that had been over you from the top of your head to the bottoms of your feet falls away a little bit more than just from your eyes. You can breathe a little more clearly now, and if possible, it's a little colder than it was.
Can I look down at myself to see
Yeah, you look down at yourself to see.
what hurts?
Well, you identify the lines of pain pretty quickly. There are long, both straight and sinuous cuts, concentrated on your arms and your legs, but there are a few on the middle of your body as well, and they have been stitched up. Not dressed, not cleaned. It doesn't look like it's medicine, but the wounds are closed, and the sewing is neat. In fact, this is a very good time for a roll from Robin.
Yes. Oh, okay. 4.
All right. So, this success brings with it perhaps a new problem. Looking at these wounds, there's sawdust stuck to some of them.
Is there any knowledge of wound treatment in my trivia gold mine?
Well, that sounds like a knack that you can roll 2d6 for, and we'll see.
A 5 and a 6.
All right. So, as it turns out, without really thinking about it explicitly, the knowledge comes unbidden to your mind that taken together, the sawdust, the spare atmosphere, and the stitching, this looks like taxidermy.
Yeah, I wrote in chat that I will not be able to stop envisioning us as Frankenstein's monster, and this is not helping.
I'm just thinking of that one character from Unknown Armies, the second run.
We'll hurry on to the game at hand, but yes.
Put pins in each of those things, I suppose. Yeah.
So, by this time, consciousness has flowed back into enough of you that you can slowly sit up. You realize you're peeling yourself off of a polished hardwood plank table set just beneath some large windows looking out over it's a city. There's a city out there. A city at night. Early night. You can actually see the last vestiges of twilight on the horizon. Looking around the room, you can also see examples of taxidermy completed and in progress. All animals. Though some that you're pretty sure you haven't seen outside of a zoo before. Zoo? That's a thing, you think. The lights in this room are off, and it's quite chilly. The burlap covering is all that you had over you. But you get the feeling, just an ingrained expectation, that you're probably supposed to be wearing clothes, and that this might help.
I would like to set an objective.
Mm-hmm.
Get warm.
Get warm. All right, I'm going to add that to our character sheet. Get warm. Otherwise, the room is low on detail. There isn't that much in it, except when you look over sort of to the wall to the right of the one with the windows in it, a large pegboard full of tools and a chest of drawers that you presume holds the other materials needed to stuff and mount once living things. The light that's coming into the room is spilling in from a door on the wall across from the one your table is set against, that is ever so slightly ajar.
This might be a catastrophic ideation, but I feel that I should grab a de facto weapon from the pegboard.
Okay. Let's see. I'm going to rule that if you're indulging catastrophic ideation, we're not going to have to roll anything for body to do this, but I would actually love for you to roll a die to identify the correct tool to grab for this.
Got a 6.
All right. So there are larger, heftier tools that seem to catch the eye, but you somehow know that while they will appear menacing, their specificity makes them awkward to use for defense, and instead you grab the scalpel.
The tried and true Dice Punk's weapon.
Gotta find some neck meat.
I was going to say, that is a deep cut, if you will.
I mean, that'll depend on the roll yet to come, I guess.
That wheeze was perfect.
It was a perfect wheeze.
A simulation of neck meat.
Soaked in weasel grease.
So, you have peeled yourself off of this polished hardwood plank table. You have let the burlap cloth fall off of you. You've padded quickly over to the tools, and you have grabbed a scalpel from the work surface. At this point, Body, would you roll a d6 for me, please?
3.
All right.
We're bad at this body thing.
You are unable to hear anything over the chattering of your teeth.
Oh, that's reassuring.
There's a chest of drawers, yeah?
They, in the tool area, yes.
Don't suppose there's anything like clothes in it?
Well, rifling through
Quick
it...
question, are we people-shaped?
Ah, excellent question. Yes, you are in fact woman-shaped. Rifling through the chest of drawers, you don't come across anything clothing-like, but you do come across what appears to be rolls of linen for perhaps wrapping or storing, or maybe even providing a... there's a word for this in fiber arts. I just can't remember it. The layer that you affix other things to. This is really
entirely in character, that failure to remember.
Absolutely. So there are rolls of linen that could perhaps serve as temporary coverings.
Let's do that.
All right. You shiver and you chatter your teeth, but you unroll a broad piece of linen around first your shoulders and then your chest, and then back up to give yourself a little cowl neck, and then back down to sort of wrap your waist and your upper thighs. And then you contrive to use the scalpel to cut a relatively straightish line off and tuck it in. It will not pass as clothes for long, you don't think, but it's better than nothing, and it's slightly warmer than nudity. What now?
Is there a mirror anywhere nearby?
There is not. No mirrors.
Is there an obvious way to leave this room? It occurs to me that leaving rooms is a thing you sometimes do when you don't want to be in them.
There's the slightly ajar door that the light is coming in from, and then there are the windows next to the table you woke up on.
Are the windows shut? Are there bars?
No visible bars from inside, no.
I would like to sneak up to the door, so out of mind, out of sight.
Yeah.
In order to see that it occurs that waking up naked and pre-taxidermied on a table is not necessarily a safe situation.
The mind agrees.
The heart agrees emphatically.
Double sixes.
You are wrapped in mostly white linen, but you are in a mostly dark room, and the majority of the light comes through a slightly ajar door, so you position yourself successfully sort of behind the hinges of the door, out of the way and out of most of the light. You are hidden in the shadow and from line of sight behind the door just in time to hear footsteps approach the door and for it to swing open silently on well-maintained hinges, casting a warm light in a sharp pattern directly onto the table you were on and onto the burlap cloth bundled at its foot. You hear a medium deep voice go, and then a hand reaches out, just visible through the crack in the hinges, to turn on a light switch that had escaped your attention up till now. Sconce lights in half a dozen places around the wall flick on, and the owner of the footsteps walks into the room, closing the door behind him. He doesn't see you immediately, having walked past you before the door was closed. He's a tall man, Not elderly, but becoming aged. Short, severe hair, lantern jaw, flinty eyes. It's a neutral expression, and is wearing practical work clothes. Loose denim and a work shirt. He has well-worn leather gloves in one back pocket. He surveys the room. You have a chance to do something if you wish.
Hey, Brain.
Mm-hmm.
Is this an attack now, ask questions later scenario?
I feel like we should put him in a compromising situation and then assess the situation. Like hold the scalpel up to his throat sort of deal?
Yeah, with us behind him.
Yes.
Let's try that.
Yes.
All right. Give me a die roll, body.
6.
You move silently and quickly up behind him, and you have to reach up a little bit to get the scalpel to his throat, but you manage it without any issue. He doesn't stiffen or gasp. There's a beat, and then he sighs. But he doesn't try to move, doesn't try to turn around. And he says, "Well, you're awake. That's good."
Oh, good. We're playing Skyrim.
Either that or it's Varric.
I hope not. Varric sounds more like a pirate.
It's true, he does.
I see you found my tools.
Art, what do you think we should say?
I think I invoke this proves everything. You know what? Actually, no. I invoke too familiar. And I think what we need to do, even though we have a scalpel to his throat, he seems calm. So actually, we're going to approach this as though we're buddies. So yeah, I think we say it is good that we're awake, isn't it? Real good.
I don't remember if I said the thing for when we were using catastrophic ideation here. But this would give you a token.
Do I also get a
the
token?
double sixes have given a token.
Oh, that's correct. Thank you. The double sixes would have given everyone one token. My apologies. I just completely blanked on that. And yeah, I think I was just amiss a little bit. So yeah, do use any physical counters that you want, as well as the character sheet that we're all looking at to keep track of your tokens. Excellent. So I believe that puts heart with 2 tokens, mind with 2 tokens, and body with 1 token. So
thank you for the 2 6s.
Do my best. Because, you know, there's so much skill involved in rolling.
So the man sort of chuckles a little bit and says, "Well, I suppose that it doesn't make too much of a difference to me, but the people who brought you here will certainly be happy you're up and about."
Who brought us here?
There is... Oh, you don't necessarily say that, right?
That's
away.
what I want to say.
Yeah. For certain,
no, the heart would want to know that.
Sure.
I think we attempt it in a counterfeit of casual airs.
Mm-hmm.
You know, despite the situation, despite being wrapped as we are, I think we're just having a little chat.
Do roll me a die, please, Hart.
Sure. Is this since we're doing too familiar? This is 2 dice since we have an. Oh no, I'm sorry. That's an intrusive thought, not an act. It's just the one.
Yeah, it's just the one.
Yep. That's a 3.
3. All right. You mean for it to be, if not jovial, then at least neutral. but it really comes out more brittle and unhinged. Kind of a, who brought us here? And the man...
You really can't be that surprised if, probably.
The man sort of sighs and says, "Oh, you're worse off than they thought. Would you like to come have a seat somewhere more comfortable? I'm sure we can talk about it like civilized people."
Is that what we are? Civilized people?
Ask if he has clothes.
Do you have clothes? Clothes are civilized, right?
Yes, clothes are civilized, so people who come and sit down like civilized people can have clothes.
Ask what he means to us.
What do you mean? To us? To me?
Well, at the moment, I'm the person who probably saved your life. Though, I should be clear that I only did it because I'm being paid.
You don't seem very worried that I'm going to, and I move this, do we move the scalpel slightly? That's what I want to do.
I don't think we do, but we're very tense.
And he sort of shrugs one shoulder and says, "We're all meat in the end."
Gross.
Hey, Brain, is
Is
it a good or a bad idea? Is it a good or a bad idea to go sit down and be civilized with this guy?
We shrug, which has the effect of bringing the knife a little, or the scalpel a little bit closer.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think it's good or bad necessarily, because it could be an opportunity to put us at ease, to take advantage of us, but he could also be telling the truth.
My first impulse is to ask, are you telling the truth?
And he chuckles slightly, although you notice that he is keeping more deliberately still now. Or I suppose the mind notices that. And he says, "If I say I am, will you believe me?"
Will we?
Can I roll trivia goldmine to see if I know any weird CIA hacks to knowing if someone is telling the truth?
I'm going to say go ahead and roll it, but I can't promise you that the information you get will be useful.
All right. And
something sodium pentothal something.
Okay. So it's a knack, so I rolled 2. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
5 and a 3.
Okay. You realize in this moment that you know what a polygraph is and a lot about how to administer one. But something tells you there probably isn't a polygraph machine around, nor would this man be likely to subject himself to polygraph testing because you asked.
Art, do you think he would do it if we asked nicely?
After what is probably a very difficult silence for this man, I say, would you be willing to submit to a polygraph test?
You get the distinct impression that this is the first thing you have said or done that has truly thrown him off. And he pauses and says, "Do you have a polygraph machine?"
Oh, he asked if we have a polygraph machine.
Do we have a polygraph machine?
We don't.
Darn.
senses, you said there were taxidermied or partially taxidermied critters about.
Mhm.
Is that right?
Correct.
I ask him, are they alive too? Gesturing at said critters.
He seems to understand your question, despite your gesture being mostly invisible to him from where you're standing. And he says, "Not as alive as you or I. I've replaced their meat with stuffing and sawdust."
So, not alive then.
Well, I try to make them look alive.
Are we stuffed with sawdust? Are
we stuffed with sawdust? Do we just look alive?
That's gonna be a roll from the heart.
Sure. Yeah, it's just a regular old roll.
Yeah.
All right, here we go. I mean, yeah, sure. I had a justification, but I'll save it.
Already, we're going.
Oh my god, that's
Descartes
a 1.
And existentialism. And we are so not trained for this.
No.
The question occurs to you, but then it quickly snowballs into a certainty that you are stuffed with sawdust, that this is some sort of Frankenstein's monster situation, you might say, or the mind might say, I suppose. And
aren't you a part of us senses?
Yes.
Okay.
The connection is not perfect.
Extremely imperfect, one might say. But this is essentially the failed roll bringing up the intrusive thought of this proves everything. And
I inform the mind and the body that we are definitely dead. And this is like a Frankenstein's monster situation, and I'm hoping the
doesn't matter. We can still move.
How does one fidget?
The scalpel will move slightly.
Yeah. How does one fidget while holding a scalpel with someone's
with one's other hand?
Say dangerously. In any case, you become immediately certain that this man has basically taxidermied you alive, and he is in the middle of reassuring you that no, he sewed up your wounds, basically trying to keep them clean as best he could with the supplies he had on hand, but frankly, it's water off a duck's back. At this point, you know what happened. He Frankenstein's monstered you.
Are we the first Frankenstein's monster you've made? Or are there others?
That brings him up short. He was still talking at that point.
Whatever he was saying, we were not hearing it, I don't think.
Oh,
I mean,
absolutely not.
You would know
absolutely
senses.
not.
But...
Body. 2 dice for untouchable, please.
Boxcars again.
Does that mean 6s?
Yeah.
Nice.
Okay.
Yeehaw.
All right, everybody gets
Another token.
a token.
And I got one for using an intrusive thought, is that right?
You did.
Cool, okay.
If you could do me the incredible favor of keeping track of them on the character sheet.
I am doing that. I am also, let the record show, having little physical tokens next to me for vibes.
Yeah. I like the vibes tokens as well, but I just I noticed that I only see tokens for Drew, on the character sheet.
I was using X's, by the way, but I just grabbed the Unicode for a skull and crossbones since we're definitely dead. So if anyone would like to copy paste that,
thank
feel free.
This makes my brain happy.
All right. So we got
Both the
double
mind.
6s
Mm-hmm.
Speaking of themselves in the third person.
Yes.
We got double 6s for untouchable. So at that interruption, the man springs into action, and there's a brief scuffle, very dangerous scuffle. During this scuffle, he does not manage to grab or injure you in any way, but he does manage to get the scalpel away from you.
Darn.
Very quickly, he throws it towards his workspace and tools, and it sticks at an angle into the work surface over there.
Well, I think if he wanted to do that to us, he could have.
Seems likely.
Seems like he was trying to, de-escalate the situation. So that's
holds up his hands in a.
We're out the door.
Yeah. The last thing you see as you're moving out the door is him holding up his hands in a mixture of placation and exasperation, and then you're off. As you run, you're.
I am invoking Untouchable here.
Yeah, this would be the
other side of
body's
Untouchable.
knacks have the same names as its intrusive thoughts. So Untouchable as a knack is dexterity and dodging to never actually get hit, and Untouchable as an intrusive thought is being touched is often a prelude to pain, so best to avoid it. And you are bare feet slapping down a hardwood floor, down a hallway. The
only thing I'll stop for is clothes.
Well, there are 2 closed doors on either side and an opening that has no door in it leading into what seems to be some sort of cozy room at the other end, all fairly well lit with warm light. If you would like to duck into any of these rooms to look for clothes, that may be a good idea because this pell-mell running is causing your linen wrapping to slip.
Assuming I know what a bedroom looks like.
Do I know what a bedroom
which may be a strong assumption here.
If we don't know these things, I will help us find whichever light is coziest.
Can I activate as the crow flies to kind of use my general knowledge of hopefully how buildings are laid out to identify where I should go and if this is the type of building that has a bedroom?
As written, I'm not sure that the knack covers it, but I kind of want you to use it anyway, so yes, give me 2 dice.
I do have a weird knack for orienting myself. I got a 4 and a 5.
Okay. So, parts of your mind that you didn't know existed start cranking up like ancient lawnmower engines that you're surprised turn over. And you realize that this wing is probably going to be mostly dedicated to the work. But through the door at the end of the hallway, you may find the rest of a house, because it does seem to be a living and working space.
There, that one.
In we go.
You go through into the cozy-looking room, and it is something that the mind will be able to identify as a den. It even has a fire crackling low in the fireplace. There are several doors leading out, and mind you are able to orient pretty quickly. A door on your right probably leads out of the building, whereas the one on your left probably leads into living quarters, and the one ahead of you probably leads into like a kitchen or a dining room.
Mind, I think people in these kinds of rooms wear smoking jackets. Can we get a smoking jacket?
That would be up to the body to look around, I think.
Hey, we're doing it. We need clothes of some sort. I'm not particular.
Okay.
Although if we can dress up as like Marlene Dietrich, then all the better.
Only to the good.
Actually, here's a great thing. Oh, yes, 100%. Mind. Acrobatic multitasking allows you to sort of juggle things in your mind. So I would like you to roll 2 dice using that, and we'll see if you succeed.
A 5 and a 6.
Nice.
I chose my dice well today.
You did.
Excellent. We love this.
Your gaze passes over the fireplace again as you turn toward the part of the house that you think is most likely to contain clothes. And you see that there are actually some burning in the fireplace. They are unidentifiable in terms of garments or patterns, but it looks like they were maybe wool and cotton variously, and they are mostly ash now.
That's suspicious.
Those may have been ours.
They were ours. They don't put clothes on dead women. Wait, do they? Right? I don't know. Not important.
I don't know. Could they have been burned because they were covered in blood and torn up?
Oh, they're the clothes we died in.
You are through the door into what you did correctly surmise is the living area of this building. You can see an open door into a bathroom and closed doors into what you assume are master and guest bedrooms. Body,
Do
you
people
can
put on
also
clothes before
hear...
and or after sleeping? I bet there are clothes.
Body, you can hear the man following behind you. He has shoes on, so he's a little more audible. It's unclear how close he is.
Okay. Ransack for clothing.
All right. Which bedroom are you darting into, master or guest?
Master.
Mind has identified them for you. Dart into the master bedroom. Mind.
Mhm.
If you would give me a die roll, please, to try and get the right clothes from the right place as quickly as possible.
A 5.
5. And Body, if you would give me a roll to do all of this effectively, quickly, and maybe even quietly.
A 5.
All right.
High 5.
Only the heart rolls like a schmuck, apparently.
Oh, no. I've rolled my share of 3s and 1s.
I'm sure my losing streak is coming.
The dice will eventually rebel.
Well, and there is a reason to make you guys roll so much.
Sure.
First of all, everything is a challenge. And secondly, statistically, we will have successes and failures aplenty.
Yeah. No, I think stochastic bridge burning can also be applied to the dice.
Yes.
A little bit. This is the name of one of Hart's intrusive thoughts. So, Mind, you have the presence of yourself to close the door behind you, though there is no immediate sense of a locking mechanism. Body, you dash to a dresser, and you start pulling things out. You find some boxer briefs. Pull them on. They're baggy, but they stay up. You find a whole lot of immensely practical denim in a variety of muted colors, and you pull on a gray pair. They will trail over your feet, but you have time to worry about that later. There don't seem to be anything but undershirts in here. You pull the white one on,
Shoes.
And
We need shoes.
you are as clothed as this dresser will get you.
Is there a closet or any place?
Mind, where would I find shoes?
You dash over to what appears to be a closet right as the door opens, the man standing in it framed in the light from the hallway, and hauling open the closet. You see there are a couple pairs of shoes in there. Dressier, everyday, and work boots. A quick comparison of the size of your feet to the size of these shoes shows that you would be lucky if they stayed on at all.
Fuck.
The man in the doorway doesn't quite shout, but irritation has begun to creep into his voice, and he says, "All right, calm down. You've got some clothes. That's good. Have a seat. Let's talk."
Brain, body, should we talk? I mean, I can do that, but
we should demand something for our feet first.
I demand shoes.
Socks would work. Socks. Warm.
Socks are also good.
Warm things.
Warm things.
Look,
sometimes the connection is 1-to-1. It's just not always. You know?
Look, I have the shoes you came in with in my foyer. You can take some socks in that closet. There's some drawers to the right. They'll be big on you. but the leggings you came in with are ruined. So take some. Have a seat. Let's talk. When you're ready to leave, you can have your shoes. I just want to get you out of here without any more incident. Please.
Well, we need to get warm, so I think we do go for the socks.
We need socks.
The heart
and
wants
shoes.
to go for. The heart wants socks, but the heart also wants shoes.
The heart wants what it wants, and it wants socks.
I mean, can you blame the heart?
Well, we put on the socks, bring the shoes, and then we'll talk.
He murmurs something that you don't quite catch, but he does this while he is walking away, presumably to get the shoes. You pull on the socks. It's immediately nicer. The clothes are not especially cozy, but they are warmer than being naked or wrapped in linen.
I wish we still had the scalpel. That was a different kind of warmth.
Agreed.
Hey, you have presumably a minute or two while he's gone. You have the socks on, and you are beginning to be less cold.
There's warmth in the afterlife. That's nice.
Because we're dead.
Body, you will probably also notice that, like, you feel your heart hammering and can hear your blood roaring in your ears.
Yep. That's not news.
No.
That's just a constant these days.
That's how we exist.
For all you know, that's how Frankenstein's monster feels. So this isn't conclusive, but it is a thing.
We could be deader, but we're still dead.
What's the particular name of that delusion?
Oh, I don't know.
Oh, yeah, what is that called? It has a name. Cotard's syndrome? Is that what it's called?
You could literally make anything up and I would shrug.
Cotard syndrome, yes.
Hey! Nailed it.
Well done, well done.
It's me, the trivia gold mind. Yeah, that's when you're convinced you're dead already, right?
Mm-hmm. Well, if there's nothing in particular other than getting socks on that we want to accomplish, then after a brief interval, the man returns carrying shoes. These shoes are what I think of as nurses' shoes. They're extremely practical, comfortable, thick-soled, understated. They seem to have seen a lot of wear, though, and are not quite to the point where you'd call them falling apart, but they've seen better days. There are a number of unidentifiable stains, a lot of fraying, scuffs, and wear. He simply says, "This is what they brought you wearing." And sort of flips them forward so that they tumble onto the floor between the two of you. He's standing in the doorway once again and says, "Now can we talk?"
I will slowly nod.
I wait for confirmation from the mind that these are in fact shoes.
I am putting them on even as we are confirming
Yes. I also confirm that we can talk.
We can
All right.
talk.
They warned me that you probably would be confused. I think they may have underestimated it. What do you remember?
Who are they?
Oh, I don't know. I make a point of not knowing.
How honest should we be about this, mind? What we remember?
I don't want to be that honest. It seems like if we tell him that we don't remember anything, then he could easily take advantage of us and give us false information.
I'm going to use a knack. I'm going to invoke That's Rough Buddy, and I'm going to approach this conversation as though everybody has enormous lapses in their memory. You know that feeling when you wake up on a slab with sawdust all around you and you have no idea who you are, and then you hold a scalpel to someone's throat, and then when he gives you shoes, you're finally willing to talk. Everyone's been there.
It's true. I've been there a few times, actually.
Roll those 2 dice.
Okay. 6 and a 4.
All right. We'll roll with the 6.
Mm-hmm. So you don't want me to say what I say after that roll, since I am the heart?
Please do.
Yeah, so I say, look, this is hard for me, but I'm sure it's hard for you too. I mean, you make a person who lives beyond death, and they turn out to be more perceptive and quicker and more charming than you expected. It can't be easy.
He gives you a look that you choose to interpret as him being impressed. And
the heart is pleased.
He says, well, I used my taxidermy tools to sew you up, but you are alive. You understand that you're alive, right?
Slow shake of the head.
Oh boy.
To whatever degree the heart controls the face, and that's not complete but not zero, we're giving him a pitying look as though it's absurd that he would keep lying at this point.
Fully granted.
Mm-hmm. He says, I do taxidermy. I love doing taxidermy. So there are people, sometimes they have someone they need sewn up. They bring him to me, because I'm not a hospital, but I can sew somebody up real good. Sometimes they need other things. I don't ask questions, I just get the money. Do you understand?
Do we, Brandon?
Sure, we understand.
I mean, yeah, we understand that he sewed us up because we were dead and now we're a monster.
Yeah, we need our monstrousness aside. We need to know who these people are that would allow him to, make us Frankenstein's monster. He doesn't know who they are, but we can ask their intentions and if they gave him any directions for when we woke.
These people who left us here alive. Did they say when they'd be back? Or what to do when we woke?
Well, they seem to think that you would know what to do when you woke up. As that doesn't seem to be the case, my inclination is to let you go your merry way.
Senses, how merry do we feel? How merry a way would it be?
Not a super merry way. I mean,
yeah.
You are in pretty considerable amounts of pain, and while you are warming up, you feel the kind of tired that you feel from being cold for a long time.
I would like to set an objective. Does it have to be related to the mind?
Sure. Not especially.
Because I would like to get this man to give us some of the basic survival needs. In this case, inclusive of Tylenol, Advil, some painkiller.
Okay.
And maybe something to drink. I mean, do dead things need food and water? Are we feeling that would be beneficial, body?
What?
Zombies eat brains.
Mm-hmm. And body, you actually are feeling kind of hungry, and especially
stomach
thirsty.
Growls audibly.
Mm-hmm. So I have put the objective in as acquire basic survival needs. I have not included the bit about from this guy, just generally speaking. Yeah. Whatever you can get.
We may already have burnt this bridge.
I mean, if it gets us out of the house, he may be willing to give us some things on the way.
Yeah. He hears your stomach growl and he says, right, who knows when you last ate? I do a lot better with things that stay still and don't make so much noise. Tell you what, there's a fire in the den. Go sit by it. I'll warm up a sandwich or something, and you can take it to go. How does that sound?
Ask him for some mild painkiller.
Yeah, that.
We need something for the... I need something for the pain, too.
I'm afraid I don't drink.
So when you bring other things to life,
Aspirin?
sheeps and such, they don't feel pain?
He sighs and says, I prefer not to complicate my own flesh with engineered molecules.
I bet he's an anti-vaxxer.
Almost certainly.
I think we should eat the anti-vax sandwich, and then I think we should get out of here.
Sounds good.
We're sitting by the fire for a sec, though.
And with that, you are finally warm. Body,
Woo!
you may get 3 tokens. Mind and heart, you may get 1.
Yay.
Nice.
And body, you may now declare a new objective whenever you have one. All right. You're sitting by the fire. You're finally warm. It feels, frankly...
Point of order.
Yes.
I can exchange 5 tokens to get 1 more token anytime an objective happens?
Correct.
Let's do that.
All right. So your 5 tokens go away, and I'm just literally going to write +1 in the top of your objective column.
I'm also at 5, so I'll do that too.
All right.
This seems like the kind of thing you would do by the fire.
Metagame.
Yeah, pretty
All
much.
right.
Yeah.
And
Break the fourth wall in a
remember
cozy way.
to take your 5 tokens off. Heart. Ta-da! There you go. All right. So the +1 token note there just means you get 1 more token whenever objectives are completed. All right.
As we're sitting here and reflecting for a moment, I also will add an objective, which is get someone to acknowledge that we're dead.
Spooky.
So.
Why do I imagine that this ends up with another scalpel at someone's throat?
That's more your prerogative than mine. I just need to be seen.
So you finally feel warm, and this makes you much more relaxed than you were, which is maybe not all the way relaxed, but you don't have a whole lot to compare it to at this point. After a brief interval, the man comes in with a paper towel wrapped. Well, the mind can identify it using the trivia gold mind as a panini, a very simple one that's got turkey and cheese, and he hands it to you and says, "Right, now, have a nice life."
Ask him if we had any personal effects aside from the clothing and the fire.
Did we have any personal effects other than the ashes?
The moment you finish the question, we are devouring this.
In fact, the word ashes, it doesn't. You can't hear the plural because the panini is already in our mouth.
Indeed.
Can I say? Yeah.
Yeah. He glances at the fireplace and says, "There wasn't anything on you other than your clothes and shoes. I had to take it all off to work on you. And I'm in the habit of, disposing of bloody clothes when they come into my home."
How's the panini, Senses?
It's fine. It's a little bland, but you know what? You're quite hungry.
Thanks for the panini. Panini, and also the second chance at life of a kind.
Ask him if he had any
Of
sense
course.
as to what caused our injuries.
Could you tell how we got bad enough that we had to come here?
Well, I'm not exactly a detective, but those cuts were made by sharp implements, probably from multiple angles. But beyond that, not really sure. Folks who brought you seemed to want you to survive, so I doubt they were the ones who did it, but
Yeah,
you
too bad
see
for them.
all sorts.
That's a shame. That's a shame for them.
He doesn't
status?
respond either of the times that you bring up the insinuation that you are the living dead.
I look him deeper in the eye each time, if my eyes, or at least I try to. Have we finished our panini? Is it time to depart?
You have finished your panini and licked every molecule of grease off of your fingers.
Does he have a bottle of water?
He has not brought one, no.
I ask.
He sighs. I'm sure I can put something together. And you hear water running, and he returns with one of those glass bottles with like the little wire stopper on the top, just full of tap water, like room temperature tap water. And he hands it to you, and he says, "Keep the bottle."
I will salute him with it, and we are out the door.
Thanks,
All right.
Doc. Good to meet you, Victor.
Just before the door closes behind you, you hear him go, and then the door
More like
closes.
an Igor.
You find yourself on a relatively dark sidewalk next to a relatively dark street with spaced out houses that seems to be on a hillside overlooking a city that slopes down towards a coastline. It's still relatively early evening. Mind, give me a roll if you would. This may actually be trivia gold mined, so you can roll a second die if you would like.
I did roll a 5 and a 3, so the second dice, oop. It's not helpful as it almost ran off the table.
So, looking out over the city, there are electric lights in many of the windows, and you can tell that it's not actually that late. There's a lot of hustle and bustle. The background noise you were hearing on the table was coming from this city. It's cold out. Colder than you're dressed for. But you're not in, you don't think, any immediate danger now. Especially with your shoes. It being cold probably means that it's winter, which means that it gets dark early. But now you have the problem of, well, not being dressed for the weather. And also, not being particularly close to most other things. It's a ways down the hill to get to where anything else is.
I guess we need to head where other things are.
That is the implication there.
Nothing to do but start walking, eh, buddy?
Yeah.
Body, if you would roll me 2 dice for your knack version of keeps the score endurance through injury.
Pair of twos.
All right.
These boots were made for walking starts playing on repeat in my mind.
So it happens.
The feet are another story, though.
That one of the long incisions that you woke up with is on the outside of your left ankle and goes down below the shoe line. And so you find yourself hobbling down this hill. But it's not super steep. It's just enough that you have trouble controlling your speed, and you stagger into a hedge, and you stagger into the road. And fortunately, there are no cars coming. Stagger back onto the sidewalk, and after a time, you realize, this sucks. And then you look down, and you actually see a small, but very slowly growing bloodstain on the sock on your left side. This really sucks. You're not even that close to the end of the road that you were on, which presumably leads you from this outskirts area back down into town. Hart, if I could get you to roll 2 dice for me, please.
Can do.
I will tell you the knack after you have rolled.
5 and a 4, so we'll take the 5, obviously.
You find yourself, as you rest and catch your breath, with your gaze drifting to a particular part of town, and heart, you feel a pull. You long to be here. It's down the hill and to your left, closer to the water's edge, but not all the way. It's an area that has less overall lighting, but more colorful lighting than the other areas that you can see from here.
I inform the others emphatically that this is where we need to be.
You feel that you've been there many times, which is...
I add, again.
The knack that was brought into play here is the regular. Body, your ears perk up.
We need them.
Is that going to be added as an objective?
Something to make it so I can move while not further injuring my feet. Yeah.
All right. Acquire. Whoop. I hit caps lock.
You can yell. It's worth yelling about.
Mobility aids. All right. Body, your ears perk up. You hear a car coming.
We start to move out into the road to flag them down.
Heart, give me a roll. Maybe even with 2 dice for approachable.
Okay. Oh, sure. Yeah. 6 and a 5.
All right. You wave your arms and you put on something between a hopeful look and a pathetic look, and the mid-size SUV that's coming down the road from parts unknown pulls to a stop to one side of you.
What if these people want to abduct us? What if these people are the ones that wanted to cut us off with knives? I am imagining catastrophic outcomes here.
So as these thoughts begin to race through your mind, the passenger side window rolls down, and the elderly woman driving the car leans over the console to say, "Why, dearie, you look like you've seen a spot of trouble. Do you need a ride?"
She's the honeypot. Oh, everyone trusts an old woman.
We're still not
trust an old woman because old women are trustworthy, or because they're not?
If you are invoking the intrusive thought, you get to dictate what you do here.
Mm-hmm.
That's but the flip side is that it has to be wildly ill-advised.
Are you so invoking? Or are you just making your case to the other aspects?
Are we about ready to pull this old lady out of her car and steal it?
GTA style, just I need this.
That is entirely up to you.
That this is the price of the power.
Yeah. Instead, we're just gonna yell at her. What do you know? Who am I? What do you know about me? And start shouting at her.
Her face falls, and she pulls away so fast that the tires squeal. You can see the screen of a phone lighting up in the cab as she motors away.
Acting very guilty, I think.
Mm-hmm.
Good call, Brain.
I just wanted to be off our feet.
Yeah, but better to still have feet.
Which we won't if we keep fucking going.
Do dead people even need their blood?
Signs point to yes.
Sure.
Well, you're already stood back up, so the inclination is probably to continue hobbling down this hill. Who knows when another car will
I
come
did get another token for... Okay. So I'm going to go ahead and join the bandwagon of spinning mine to get a +1 to future.
Is there anything approaching, like, is there bamboo that I could, like, break off?
No bamboo.
Any thick sticks? Can I use Trivia Goldmine to see if I know how to improvise a crutch?
You know what? Go ahead and roll it. I do not guarantee the results.
Well, clearly. This game has a 50-50
I got a 6 and a 1, so I'm going to keep the 6.
Thank you.
Looking around, you see a small, somewhat familiar hardwood tree in a nearby yard that you could at least make a walking stick out of if you were able to pull one of the branches off. There are lights in the house, so it's entirely possible that someone is going to object to this process if you don't do it quickly. But you've identified the branch that would probably make for a decent, basically a hiking stick.
We're doing it.
All right. Body, give me a roll to wrench this thing off of a live tree.
Wrench a branch off of a live tree.
6.
Wrench that branch.
You do better than by all rights you should, especially with your injuries. You figure that it's probably because you are being extremely matter-of-fact. You will get this branch. Reach up, grasp it, haul on it, and peel, a nice little sliver off of the tree with it. You put your better foot down on the end, snap it off, and by the time you're on the sidewalk, you've pulled some of the extraneous little twigs off of it, and you are two-handing on your left side to kind of hobble down the slope with it, much more effectively than before. And so you continue.
I'd say we've acquired a mobility aid too, yeah?
I believe so, yeah. So that's going to be 4 for the body and 2 for each of our other aspects, thanks to all of the token upgrades we've gotten so far. You hobble through the chill for a time, down the hill, and you arrive at the outskirts of the city proper. I say outskirts. You are on the outskirts. You arrive in the city proper. It's more brightly lit. The sidewalks are broader. You start to see other people moving around. There are quite a few of them, especially as you make your way towards the area the heart feels drawn to. People give you strange looks, but no one addresses you. No one talks to you, at least not of their own accord, as you hobble further and further in the direction that the heart has directed you in. Is there anything in particular you wish to do or accomplish on your trek?
Have we checked any of our pockets for, stuff that might have gone through the wash and stayed in the clothing that we have absconded with?
Oh, we're not in our own clothing. We're in this other dude's clothing.
The clothing
Even
we
so,
absconded with.
Did it leave a 20 in there or something? Yeah.
There's nothing. There's nothing in any of the pockets. Yeah. You check while you're walking. There's just nothing there.
Are we still bleeding?
Yes.
Oozing blood.
Okay. It hasn't gotten worse, but it hasn't gotten better.
Yeah.
I think we should just get to the place where people would probably know us.
All right.
Where everybody knows your name.
Thank you.
There is, in fact, a reference to this in the knack sheet for the listener.
So, you hobble through the city. Mind, give me a roll, if you would.
That was not got a 6.
All right. You're not sure how you know this, but this is like a mid-sized city, pretty compact, you think. Pretty populous, not a major metropolitan area necessarily, but, enough people where you can be anonymous, but kind of crowded into this, sort of harbor area, the hills above it. And as you are moving through it, sort of fog has begun to form as the night cools off and the moisture from the sea rolls in. It's not thick and soupy, but it's, well, makes everything a little blurry and atmospheric. You can look at the streetlights and see the sort of rays of light refracting through the fog. This makes it even a little chillier, but it does sort of tickle some memories. You feel like you've been here a long time. And Heart, as you get closer to the part of town you feel drawn to, there is a growing familiarity. Mind, as you get closer to that area, you start to identify it. This is the recreation district, the nightlife area. It's off to one side of town, close to the harbor district, from back when, having a port meant having a part of town where the sailors and dock workers went. This used to be that part of town. You feel like you've been here a lot.
So we're an undead dock worker.
We solved it. Thanks for listening, everyone.
All right, but please feel free to leave a review on any of the places you can find podcasts.
The closer you get to this district, the more comfortable you feel and the more on edge you feel, and the more weird looks you get for your hiking stick, as well as perhaps your attire, you're not sure. You haven't actively thought about exactly where you're going, but as the sidewalks get more crowded in this area and the fog thickens little bit by little bit and the chill creeps in little bit by little bit, you actually find yourself standing still without really meaning to stop and looking at a neon-lit staircase leading down from the sidewalk with a sign spelling out "Sous la terre" just at the head of the staircase. As you take this in, something odd happens. Something that you lack context for a moment. Everything, the whole world, for about a second and a half, shakes. Not violently, but enough for you already unsteady on your feet to stagger and lean heavily on your stick. There's a brief stir in the people moving around near you, but they seem to shrug it off pretty quick.
So they felt it too.
Clearly, yes.
But they all seem like it's a normal thing.
They don't seem too bothered.
Out of character. Clearly, we're just in San Francisco.
From what I know of San Francisco, you wouldn't necessarily know this in character, but for our players, this city is smaller and, well, less affluent.
Yeah, the fact that you described it as smaller, was largely a thing, but hills and docks and fog and so on.
Yeah, a certain type of coastal city. People do live in San Francisco.
It's an interesting question. I don't know off the top of my head.
It's smaller than I thought in terms of the city and county.
Yeah, the city and county itself is not large. But
if you think about the Bay as one big community, which it kind of is, then that's pretty big. But
right.
San Francisco proper, not enormous.
They defined the city and county to prevent the city
prevent
from
Oakland from being part of
the county.
Yeah,
I am very familiar with this phenomenon. But I guess I am thinking of this then as being a metro area falling closer to the city and county population of San Francisco,
Sure.
but larger than the city
This
and
was
county
not
population.
intended necessarily to spark GM discussion and intervention.
Sure, I just am trying to give our players a clear enough idea to form a picture in your heads.
You were cracking wise about our shared home state, then inevitably eventually falling into the earth, which, fair enough.
Only about half of it. Your part rather than mine.
Right.
Well, before that happens, much of my home state will be swallowed by the Gulf of Mexico, so...
We all have
Nobody
stuff to look forward
wins.
to.
Yeah, and there won't even have to be an earthquake. The Gulf of Mexico will come to us. In any case.
So the staircase leading down, is
Yes.
this the origin point of the feeling of familiarity?
Interesting. Roll 2 dice for
Okay.
the regular.
That is a 1 and a 5, a land of contrasts.
It's an origin point, but it's also overriding any other sense of direction you can now get. You are here, but there are probably several heres, and the rest of them are now drifting further away.
I think down here is the best we can do as far as somewhere where we should be.
Are there any signs aside from the neon stairs, or
Not in this immediate,
We're
stretch
going
of sidewalk.
downstairs.
we are? I just wanted to see what we were getting into before we get in there.
Oh, no, I understand. I was declaring action.
Yeah, you are headed down the stairs.
I continue to look for anything that gives me an indication as to what this could be prior to entering.
That's a 1 die roll for me, please.
A 6?
All right.
Hey,
This is a dive bar. You're not entirely sure what that means, but you're sure that it's true. As you descend the stairs, body, the sounds and the smells hit you. And oh yeah. In fact, you sort of feel when you were feeling hungry earlier, but in a different part of your sensory apparatus. There's some part of you that craves this place or a place like it. You come to the bottom of the stairs, and there is a heavy metal door with a sign on it that says, "Absolutely no entry under 21" in faded magic marker. There's a handle that you can pull to go in. The landing is concrete and smells faintly of cigarette smoke and urine. I assume that the yup was that you're pulling the door open.
Oh, yeah.
I say we go in even if we're not 21, of whatever that means.
You pull the door open and are immediately greeted by the sounds of a Guns N' Roses song. And the dim illumination of the lighting combined with the brighter but more limited illumination of those little bar top games that you can gamble on. There is a small selection of bottles and a larger selection of glasses behind the bar. A tired-looking woman in a black t-shirt and black jeans stands behind the bar, fiddling with her phone. There are maybe 3 or 4 people in the bar. A couple of them look up at you and then look back to what they were doing. But an old man seated immediately to your right in a booth along the wall looks up, sees you, and immediately jumps out of his seat. And doesn't quite shout, but also isn't quiet. He says, "Kokanya!"
Is that our name?
I guess that might be our name.
Or another language greeting?
Would it be
Mine,
me?
this would be a good thing to roll for. You can even use
Yeah,
trivia
yeah.
gold mine on
Yes,
it.
I'll do that. Got a 3 and a 5, so I'm sticking with the 5.
Okay. You are able to identify this as not probably your name, but you're not sure what language or what dialect or what accent. It's a term of endearment. You think fairly familiar one.
Do we know if it'd be appropriate to return it?
No clue.
That sounds like too
Just
familiar.
nod tiredly.
Nod
Yeah.
tiredly. Yeah.
I'm gonna roll. With you know what? Let me do it too familiar. I'm gonna
All right.
use the and I'm going to come up with the most familiar term of endearment I possibly can in exchange.
Okay, all right. Give me just 1 second. All right, hang on. I'm doing research here. You don't know where it comes from, but you turn, levering with your stick, towards the man. You see he is elderly, even grizzled. He's got, sort of longer disheveled hair and like a bushy gray beard. He's got tired eyes and lots of lines on his face, and he's wearing a black t-shirt and blue jeans. Don't seem like they've been washed in a little while. His eyes are a little bleary. He's got his arms sort of up and open, and he's giving you a look that is a little less happiness or excitement and a little bit more relief. And you sort of broadly mirror his gesture and reply, "Coordinates." He flushes red, and his arms slowly fall to his sides as he gives you a odd look.
I don't think we did great.
You may take 1 token for that.
Thank you.
I think that's the theme of the day.
He sort of strides towards you and says, "You look awful. Are you all right?"
Oh, I died.
"What? No, you didn't. You're standing here.
Darn.
Come. You need a drink."
I nod emphatically.
He ushers you into his booth and signals to the bartender, who takes a moment to see him signaling, but once she does, sighs, puts her phone in her pocket, and starts pouring something.
I feel like
New objective. Get drunk.
oh jeez. And I guess you mentioned earlier that alcohol could count as a painkiller, so would that, once it comes to our table, would that acquire basic survival needs box be checked?
Well, let's see. You had food, you have clothes, you had water in the bottle that you have with you, and I guess if you drink enough of it, yes, alcohol could check that.
Okay.
And if we refuse to be kicked out of the bar, we have shelter. So Maslow party of 3.
So, while the drinks are being poured, the man sort of leans across the table and says, "Where have you been? You seem to disappear for a couple of days."
A couple of days. Well, it seems I'm overcome suddenly with an urge to show him the stitches on the arm.
You can, I guess, ask the body.
I'm asking the body.
Yep.
Yeah, so you pull.
We do that as we are also pulling up or pulling down the sock on the leg.
Mm-hmm.
Had kind of a rough go of it.
His eyes widen when he looks at the stitches and says, "What happened to you?
We got taxidermied, I suggest, to the heart."
Well, we got taxidermied.
He mutters something that sounds like an appreciation in a language that you do not understand. And he says, "Oh, I tried to warn you. Well, I am glad you're all right. Or alive, at least." At this point, the bartender puts down 2 low balls of vodka neat on the table.
Shit. Okay.
And the
1, 2.
The gentleman turns to her and says, on her tab, please. And the bartender goes, and slouches back to the bar.
Can I, once again, I'm not sure if this is going to be acrobatic multitasking or trivia goldmine, but I want to start tracking all the phrases I can hear in this other language to try to identify it.
That's going to be acrobatic multitasking. You can go ahead and roll 2 dice. You may or may not know exactly the outcome until later.
Okay. I got a 6 and a 1.
That does cover the gamut. Yeah. All right. So you start working on this, sort of trying to hear it. In the meantime, he has reached for one glass. Now, if I heard correctly, Des, it sounded like the body may have been taking both.
I did say 1, 2.
All right. So by the time he's reaching for his glass, you have downed yours and grabbed the other one and are currently downing it. He sort of blinks at his empty hand and then looks up at you.
I think we can trust him. We should let him know that we're having trouble sorting out what has happened exactly and see if he can offer us any insight.
Yeah, just I suggest that we clink the glasses together gently, and I say we.
You mean
did all
the
this
one that
with
we're drinking and the one that is
like
empty because we drank it?
Yeah, exactly, like a self toast. And I say more where this came from, but we needed this. This is the first painkiller we've had since. So when you warned us, would you mind repeating the warning? We're having a little bit of trouble. It's been a rough couple days.
Let's see. Roll the regular. So that's 2 dice, please.
That is a 6 and a 2.
It gives you a considering look, and he says, I told you those friends of yours would lead you to trouble. It seems that they have.
What friends?
Which friends exactly?
He narrows his eyes. He says, what happened to you? I've never seen you so confused.
I think this is what happens when you pass from this life to the next. You forget.
You keep acting like you're dead, but you're not. You're walking around. But is this? And he mutters something else in the language from before. Now, mind, you don't understand what he says, but you're zeroing in on it. It's kind of reminds you a little of Russian, but it's not.
No, I mean, I know we're walking around. I know I'm walking around. I'm not. I mean, that's silly. Of course, I'm walking around, but I'm walking around like a. I think I've been Frankenstein.
He gives you a very flat look, and he says, "Well. Excuse me for trying to help, I suppose. Miss Monster." And he does a little gesture with his hands by his head. And he looks down at the glasses and says, anyway, I'll get us another round since he gestures at them and pushes himself out of the booth.
I check with the mind. Tab.
Do I know anything about whether or not we have a running tab here?
It's been mentioned.
Yes, excellent. We'll just do that. We'll say we have a tab.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I mean, presumably you do because he referred to it, but no information about it exists.
I'm glad we had both.
Or whether we ever actually intend to pay it.
Oh, that's a problem for future Monster. We're not even going to.
Correct.
Is he in fact going to the bar?
Yeah, he's headed to the bar. He's speaking to the bartender, who is, I guess I think of this as doing an Aubrey Plaza, just, and then serving the drinks.
Were those 2 shots enough to take the edge off the pain?
Well, it was more than 2 shots. It was 2 low balls of neat
yes,
vodka.
That's right.
So when it kicks in, probably, okay. But it has only been about 3 minutes. In the meantime, is there anything in particular that you are doing while waiting for him to return?
Can I add observing the room to acrobatic multitasking? Just keeping tabs on if anyone seems to recognize me, whether or not they're paying undue attention.
Mm-hmm, yeah, that's like in conjunction with the regular. I think we want we want to be looking around to see if anyone's recognizing us or meaning us well or ill, I suppose. Yeah, mind?
Yes.
This is very much a mind thing, but you can roll it as acrobatic multitasking, yes.
Yeah.
That was close, a 2 and a 5.
All right. You sort of enter a state of heightened alertness, and you can distantly hear your fingers drumming, on both hands out of sync on the table in front of you as you look around. On the one hand, it doesn't really look like there's anything in particular, that's going on. Nobody seems to be paying undue attention to you, but also that's what they'd want you to think. Who knows what's really going through their minds?
The drumming, I imagine, speeds up.
Yep.
At this point, the man comes back to the booth. He's carrying 2 more low balls of neat vodka, and he keeps one in his hand and puts one on the table. And he says, "So, you've been to the hospital?"
Do we know what a hospital is?
That's a good question. Mind? If you would roll, please.
Oh, no. 4.
Oh, yes.
You kind of remember what a hospital is, but more to the point, you know for sure you have not been to one.
I think we should lie and say that's where the stitches came from.
Yeah, when you have a really bad time at the hospital, you say, "I've been to the taxidermist." That's what we did. I did. That's what I did. I went to the hospital and got stitched up, taxidermied at the hospital.
He nods slowly. And he says, "Right. Well, I guess
I'm sorry.
Let me know if there's anything I can do for you, but this is all well outside of my area. I really thought you were done with all of this, so I don't know. Let me know when you're out."
Can I be really honest with you? I say, and hold up the vodka to suggest camaraderie if the body approves.
By all means.
I don't
you do so, and he gives you a very serious look.
I don't remember anything. And if you could help me, I'd appreciate it more than I could tell you. And these friends, if you could call them friends, I'd forget them. Not important. You're important. This is important.
All right. This sounds to me like a good time to roll with the regular. So 2 dice, please.
Okay. Fuck. A 1 and a 3.
All right. Well, hey, you have the 3.
I have the 3.
So he fixes you with a critical eye, and he says, "You look like my friend, but you don't speak or act like her. When she's back, you let me know." He downs his low ball, slides the glass. He says, "Thank you for the drinks, and get well soon." And looking dejected, he stands.
Ask him what his friend's name is.
Ask him to put us in touch with some of our friends.
What was your friend's name? Who did she spend time with?
He looks at you. Somewhere you think between pity and disgust. And he says, she was over on the other side a lot. With those Starless types. And he starts to walk toward the door when there's another tremor. He reaches out to brace himself on the wall with a hand, swears under his breath in, it's just on the tip of your tongue, mind up, Ukrainian. And then walks out and up the stairs.
Do we know what Starless types means?
Can I roll trivia gold
Is that a
mine?
brand?
You cannot. You must roll one die.
2.
Well, it doesn't sound good.
Mm-hmm.
You, with the body's permission, finish off your third low ball of vodka here. And we can call that the completion of both acquiring basic survival needs and getting drunk. So that's going to be, for acquiring basic survival needs, 4 tokens for mind, 2 for heart, and 2 for body. And then for getting drunk, that'll be 4 tokens for body, 2 for mind, and 2 for heart.
Can I drop 5 tokens to get an additional token per objective? And
You
then...
may.
I'll do the same.
I'll also do the same too, as well.
All right.
And then, I think, with my other 5, I should probably get a new nag.
I'm going to keep this rolling, but as when you think of it, let me know.
Can I set a new objective to figure out my own name?
You may, yes. Discover your name can absolutely be an objective, or however you choose to word it. The jukebox continues to blare hair metal. The other people in the bar continue to ignore you. But everything is blurring together a little bit now.
Hart, do we know another place that we frequented?
That sounds like that's. I'm probably going to be made to roll by the senses, knowing how they are.
You should roll the regular, yes, and I cannot guarantee that the results will be helpful.
Sure. 4 and a 3.
Okay. Yeah, you know there were other places that you went, but this was a place that you went, and it's kind of overwhelming your ability to kind of conjure up the feeling that would lead you to another one successfully.
Yeah, convey that to the other aspects. There are probably other places to go, but I bet we know people here other than the guy whose friend died. You think the bartender would remember us?
We can inquire into the tab.
That seems to be the person who gives the things that make us feel the way we feel, so that seems...
Oof.
Let's find out what a tab is. That seems useful. I don't think it's probably anything good. Hey, Body, can we go to the bar?
Yeah.
All right. You walk to the bar mostly steadily. And as you arrive, the bartender takes her time in addressing you, but finally, with a frustration, claps her phone face down on the counter behind the bar and turns to you and says, "Do you want another drink?"
Ask her how many drinks we have on our tab.
How many drinks do we have on our tab?
Let's see, we got 4 tonight. She goes, taps on a touch screen for a minute and says, like 12?
Really? Ask her really. Is there a way we can get take a look to make sure they're all ours?
That seems like a lot. Could I just look real quick and make sure that those are all, mine?
She fixes you with something between a deadpan look and a glare and says, "Oh, trust me, they're all yours."
We don't know to ask about, like, if there's a card on file, right? Like
that sounds like a mind roll.
Yeah, do we know what a tab is and how it works at all?
Do you want me to roll for it?
Please do.
Is it just a single die, or can I use trivia gold?
Nope, it's a single die.
Trivia, like how money works.
I rolled a 2.
Okay.
Put some liquor and the mind just shuts down.
Yeah. As far as you can tell, maybe it's like a tally. Maybe there's like a contest.
So what if we win the tab? Then could we get more drinks without any trouble?
It's going so well.
The bartender goes, "Tell you what, you can either pay your tab or you can leave, but you can't waste any more of my time." And she picks her phone up again and starts playing a game on it.
Awfully fuck.
She definitely knew us before we died.
Man, if only we could have looked at something about that tab. I'm sure it had her information on it if it's a contest.
We could steal the machine she has. I mean, if we're about to get kicked out anyway.
Oh no. Is it like can I look at the machine and see if I know anything about it?
Yeah, this one I suppose I'll let you roll trivia goldmine for.
A 6 and a 1, so I'm taking that 6.
You don't remember the name of the device, but you're pretty sure it has a battery. It would probably stay on if you grabbed it, at least for a little while.
Instead of stealing it, is there a way to flip it around to see the information on the screen?
Ooh, yes, but it seems as though it's no longer displaying your specific information. It's gone back to whatever it's sort of like
So,
home screen.
I don't think it would be much good to us unless we can pick our... Well, there's 12... we know how many drinks there are. We're gonna steal it.
All right.
How many people have a tab open with exactly 12 drinks?
At least one.
I was gonna say this really comes down at this point to the body because
yeah, that's a body action.
Yeah, no, we're walking out with the thing.
All right. Roll me a die.
Can we create a distraction first with the glass bottle that we have?
That sounds like a thing that you can discuss amongst yourselves and decide on a course of action.
What's a distraction? What distracts people? Loud noises. The unexpected. So an unexpected loud noise would definitely distract people.
If we make a mess, she'll have to clean it up, and then she may be distracted that we can slip away with it.
We throw the bottle into the bottles of liquor.
That sounds pretty unexpected.
And then
we get into the bottles of liquor. There is an ungodly crashing noise.
Take the tablet or whatever the hell it is, and off we fuck.
You grab the tablet while everybody in the bar screams at you, and you run out the door.
I think that went pretty well.
Oh dear.
The door closing behind you as you pelt up the stairs as quickly as you can. Your ankle seems to have stopped bleeding.
Good.
But
still have the stick, right?
Yeah, you've got your stick in one hand and the tablet in the other hand, and you're hauling yourself up the stairs as you...
We're hobbling ass.
Yeah, this is a good way of putting it. You're hobbling ass. You arrive on the sidewalk.
Can I use
keep going
as the crow flies to figure out a place where we can safely kind of vanish enough to look at this tablet? Because I imagine they're not going to...
I could roll out of mind, out of sight to support.
Yeah.
Sure. Well, we're going to do this one at a time. You're going to roll as the crow flies for navigation. and it's going to be the quickest way to get as far away from this as you can.
I got a 3 and a 2, so that's a no-go.
Okay. You think you circle the same block twice, but hey, maybe that throws off your pursuers. And it's not in quick succession either. You go some other places before you accidentally circle back. So, Body, if you would give me out of mind, out of sight, please. 2 dice.
Yep. 3 and a 1.
You tuck yourself into some shadows to pull up the tablet, and then a street light comes on directly over your head.
I will look up and flip it off and move to the next street light.
You find a spot in between pools of light, and that's about as well as you can do on the amount of wind you still have in your lungs. You look down at the tablet. Mind, give me a roll here for operating this thing.
That's a 3.
You figure out pretty quickly that it's a touchscreen interface, and you start touching some things to try and find the tabs. And you figure, honestly, the best thing that you could really do to make it easier to navigate is to reset to factory settings. Because that sounds like it's going to be really useful here in terms of finding your way around. So you've got a little while the progress bar goes, and then you're sure you can find it. But you're going to carry it around for a minute before the progress bar.
We succeeded in erasing everyone's tabs.
Yeah, you have a little miniature debt jubilee.
Yeah. I mean, I'm not counting that as a failure if people get free drinks. Because there's definitely
the bar,
not
give to the void
with that information on it.
Right.
Certainly not. All right. Well, I'm really excited for what happens when this progress bar is done.
Well, you have a little while to wait, so if there's anything you want to get up to while that happens.
We're continuing to go away from the bar.
All right.
Now that we're out of the bar, is there another gravitational pull for somewhere else that we belong, or was that it, and have we burned that particular bridge?
We've burned that particular bridge.
Well, sure. But are there more bridges that are looking flammable nearby?
We'll burn that bridge when we get there.
Roll your 2 dice for the regular.
It's a 2 and a 1.
No.
We avoided a 1, so hey.
Yeah, so Body, you are walking away, and Heart, you are trying to feel gravitational pulls, and you walk into a dimly lit place with soft piano music playing and people in nice clothes sitting at candlelit tables, sharing glasses that have ice and brown liquid in them instead of no ice and clear liquid in them. There isn't any Guns N' Roses playing. That delivery was perfect, Robin.
I like the fact that this is a distinguishing feature of isn't any GNR playing.
Well, you've been into 2 bars so far, and the first one had Guns N' Roses playing, and the second one doesn't. So
that would be if you'd only been to 2 bars. That would be a very notable contrast.
Yeah.
So you hobble in on your stick in your ill-fitting clothes with blood on your sock, and slowly conversation quiets. A young woman with a perky demeanor, who, mind you, can identify as a hostess, turns to you and says, table for one, or would you like to sit at the bar?
I think the bar.
Right this way. And somewhat uncertainly points you to an empty seat at the bar. Most of the seats at the bar are empty. And there is a well-groomed young man with a neatly trimmed beard, wearing a white dress shirt and a black vest with the little armbands around his upper arms, mixing drinks to put on trays to take to tables, who looks over at you and gives you a bright but definitely fake smile and says, "Be right with you," as you sit down.
Ask him if we have a tab here.
I invoke approachable, and I give an equally iridescent, if equally inauthentic smile, and ask whether I have a tab here.
Roll your 2 dice.
God damn it. 2. It's 2 twos, so it's 2.
Well, we're going to be hurrying out of here soon.
You say, instead of saying, "Do we have a tab here?" You say, "Vodka, neat, on my tab." And he gives you a look as he finishes pouring whatever into a glass and putting it on the tray. And he turns, he says, "Yeah, I just need a name."
Don't we all?
He blinks a couple times at you and opens his mouth to reply when there's another, not any more severe, but longer tremor.
Ask him what those are.
And he sort of holds out his hands to keep everything steady.
What is happening?
Oh, just some tremors. More frequent, I guess, than we usually get, but they don't seem too bad. What was the name?
I've been here before. Do you? There's probably a tab.
Right.
Drew, you're missing an opportunity here.
Need your name.
Yeah.
Don't you know who I am?
That I'm gonna say that suggestion does come from the body. The hackles being an actual organ. And I say I suddenly realize that it is possible to say, "Look, if you keep giving me trouble, I'm gonna have a talk with the owner, and you won't be glad that I did. Don't you know who I am?"
Roll a die.
Just the one, huh?
Just the one.
I'm gonna spend a token.
All right. Yeah. Spend a token. You can get
Cool.
2, and lose 1 token.
That's a 5. And thank God we had the other tie, because the other thing was a 2.
Yeah. He sort of blanches and looks sort of past you. You think probably to the hostess. And he goes, "Right, no, sorry, vodka neat, was it? Sure, just 1 second." And he fiddles with his point of sale, and he pours a glass of neat vodka, and he puts it in front of you, and he says, "Sorry for the inconvenience. Do you have a card you want us to use?"
Do we know what that means?
Guess I'm rolling.
You are rolling. I think in this case, just 1.
Do I want to? I'm not going to use a token for this one. Oh, I got a 6.
Why would you use a token for this?
Hey,
Excellent. All at once, you remember what credit and debit cards are.
Fantastic.
And you know for sure you do not have one.
On
On you, anyway.
mention that it should be in your system.
On file.
I believe you've got one on file, I say, and I say it imperiously.
He goes, "Right. Yes. Of course." And he goes to fiddle with the computer again.
Can I use acrobatic multitasking to see if I can track what he's doing, just to make sure he's not, reporting us?
You can roll 2 dice there. Results not guaranteed.
Yeah, I got a 3 and a 1 anyway.
Okay. It's hard to tell. He seems to be doing a lot, which maybe is a little nonsensical, but you can't tell exactly what he's doing. Body. Would you roll 2 dice on your untouchable knack for me?
6 and a 1. Which one's more interesting as results go?
No.
That's a really good question.
You absolute madman.
We're going to get kicked out. We're going to dodge getting kicked out and then kick ourselves out. That's, I think, what's going to happen.
So, if you are willing, I would like for your 1 to take effect here and trigger your untouchable intrusive thought rather than knack, giving you a token and allowing me to describe what happens next.
I will allow you to describe what hurts.
Happy Halloween, everyone.
So, on a hunch, you throw yourself sideways off of the bar stool, and a moment later, a large bald man, no, his head is shaved, sort of stumbles into your vision. You roll to your feet painfully, but not ungracefully, grab your stick, and start hobbling away from the man who was in the process of attempting to eject you. He turns around to try to grab you again, and you frankly make a quick calculation. You probably could dodge this one, but he is going to have better reach than you. So, in order to avoid being touched, you make a sound something like, ha! And bring the bottom of your stick up directly between his legs. There's a thud, and he goes, "Whoa!" and staggers back against the bar. There's a commotion throughout the restaurant. Everybody seems to be saying something. And Hart, you get the feeling it's probably time to go.
You should announce that we'll see ourselves out.
We'll see ourselves out, and if someone wouldn't mind announcing our departure by name, that would be appreciated.
Nobody does. But as you leave, you do hear the bouncer that you just thwacked in the nuts say, "Oh, you're dead! Do you hear me? You're dead!" You get 5 tokens. Mind gets 3, and body gets 3.
You got a good head on your shoulders, I say before we run out.
Also, to be clear, inject or eject? As far as what you were saying.
Eject.
Okay. Because I definitely heard that as inject.
That's a different thing. So sorry, I got 5 just now?
I believe
Yes.
so. 3 for completing your objective and 2 for your bonus there.
Well, we don't know her name, but we know that other people know we're dead, so that's good. Maybe that's even normal.
For a limited definition of good, maybe? But, sure, here we are.
Well, if we're Frankenstein's monster, we're super strong, so, if we beat that guy in a fight, he must know that means we're dead.
That checks out.
Drew,
yeah, Brain, back me up on this.
I adore your use of the heart to float Alice in Wonderland-esque unreason into this psychomachia that we've got.
Was that not my job?
Oh no, it very much was. You're doing an excellent job. Your performance review is going to glow when you get it back.
Yeah, our annual reviews are coming up.
You got that special glow.
That's true.
So
I'm hoping to get promoted to be a whole system within this body, this construct.
You hobble back out onto the street. You're still pretty floaty from the vodka, but a little bit less so from the adrenaline. And, Mind, if I could get you to roll a die for me,
Okay.
please.
A 6.
A 6. All right, so I'm going to remind us that the uses of our tokens are to add dice to rolls, to add tokens to our objective completion bonus, and also to acquire information about ourselves directly from me, the senses, if you wish to use them that way. Because it's apropos. You look around and you realize No, you actually know where you are. At least in a general sense. You've got not quite deja vu, more of a concrete recognition. You have been here, on this street. Not just once, but a lot of times. You were usually headed in that direction. Or the other way. But back and forth. That's it. You've gone back and forth up and down this particular stretch of road a lot. And nope, that's all. That's all you get. It's right there on the tip of your brain, but that's all you get for now.
So if I head in one direction or the other, logically speaking, I'll get someplace that I recognize.
That adds up.
We head away from where we've been.
Can I use as the crow flies to see if I can rely on my feet, not just in the directional sense, but just rely on my feet to autopilot me someplace of importance?
Go ahead and roll it.
2 4s.
Interesting. Okay. You walk in the direction you were heading before you headed into the fancy bar where the chaos is going on. You've now left 2 probable calls to the police behind you, but if you keep moving, it shouldn't be too big a issue, you don't think, maybe. As you walk, you're heading into a part of the nightlife district where it's not as well lit. It's not as well traveled. And you realize that you slow to a stop in front of not a business. It's a door leading into a staircase, leading to a second floor, to an apartment. It is familiar.
Can I try the door?
Body?
Yeah.
It's locked.
I missed the scalpel.
There is, however, you will notice mind, a selection of buzzers to your left. Most of them are labeled.
Can I don't know which of my knacks this would be. But I know the knowledge is in there somewhere.
Mm-hmm.
Can I look and see if any of the names seem especially familiar?
I will let you roll for it, or you can spend a token to try to recognize.
Yeah, I'll spend a token because this seems like it seems very important that we get to our own apartment.
Sure. You look at them and you scroll down or scan down the list. Vaguely familiar, more familiar, but the next one sings. You see it and something clicks. Apartment 4. Joan Kidd. That's you.
Oh, good. I was going to push it to make sure it didn't get a response, but hey, we discovered our name.
No, you immediately feel that concept absorbed into your being. And you get 5 tokens. Heart gets 3, body gets 3. You lived here in apartment 4.
I'm going to hit the button associated with the name that felt most familiar of the others.
All right.
I'm going to drop 5 of my 6 tokens to get another +1.
All right.
Oh, I'll do the same. Life's short, and one-shots are shorter.
It's true. I'll
jump on this bandwagon while it's occurring because peer pressure is real.
Especially within a single person. Yeah.
It's also just, good cooperative sense.
Mm-hmm.
That's true. That's true.
And I'd like to set a new objective to get in clothes that are mine.
Damn, I was about to set this.
Sorry. That's more of a body thing, so if you want to do it, you can.
No. Aspects can share objectives.
Okay.
The bonuses don't stack. You won't get your points and their points, but
we will just
share
each get our points, which is lovely enough.
Indeed. So, assuming, and I am assuming this is right and good, that the body consents, you will press the buzzer for apartment 2, Virginia Walter. It buzzes, as you would expect. And something in you says that really should give you a response, but there is none. And try again. Still nothing.
On to the next.
I buzzed my own apartment.
Oh, yeah.
Also no reply.
Next most familiar name.
Okay. You hit the buzzer for Clifford White. Immediately. What is it?
Hey, it's Joan. Can I come up?
Forgot our key.
We forgot our key. I forgot my key.
Locked myself out again.
Locked myself out again. I know. Classic Joan.
Give me a roll. Heart.
Sure.
Is this approachable?
It is not.
It wouldn't.
Alas.
Be, would it?
Too
That's
familiar
six.
with
Hey,
you.
good.
Yeah,
Finally some luck.
The voice goes, fine. And you hear the lock release in the door.
I'm assuming we go in, buddy.
Oh, yeah. We go in, we go up the stairs, and we have to figure out how to get into our own apartment without our fucking key.
You go up the stairs and you see that it is a cramped but reasonably well kept and cleaned hallway with 6 doors along one side. And you go to, what did I say, apartment 4?
Yep.
And try the knob. It isn't locked.
Well, this is good news and bad news, guys.
We should proceed with caution.
Very.
Yeah, caution seems appropriate.
All right. You open the door slowly, then I take it, peering around as it sort of swings wide. Now, the blinds facing the sidewalk are not like pulled up, but like opened. So some ambient light is coming in, and this allows you to see that your apartment is, not terrible. It's smallish. It's got sort of like we call it a capacious studio, where the kitchen isn't in the main room, but it is not separate from the main room, and then there's a bathroom off to one side. And the bed isn't made, and the sink isn't empty, but it's not, like, disgusting either. It's not especially warmly decorated.
So we or someone have been here recently-ish.
Ish. There is also the matter, of course, of the alarmingly large bloodstain on the wooden floor just inside the door.
That would be a bit of a problem, yeah.
The way that it glistens suggests to you that it is not immediately fresh. It's not like a pool of blood, but it's not that old either.
Great! Cheese grater, great.
I'm gonna use acrobatic multitasking to quickly try to source wallet and or money, clothing, and weapon.
Okay. Go ahead and roll it. 2 dice.
You got a 5 and a 2.
Okay. So, immediately you have an instinct for where the clothing is. There's a dresser not too far from the bed. There is a purse hanging from a peg near the door. Clothing, purse or wallet.
Weapon.
The nearest thing you can identify is there is a nonstick skillet on a shelf near the stove.
Does it fit in the purse?
It does not.
Are there any knives near the kitchen area?
Yeah, you don't guess that they're going to be like extremely effective weapons, but they will be way better than nothing.
Cool.
You, let's say, grab the you remember that your chef's knife is badly chipped, so you grab the Santoku knife.
Wouldn't want to stab someone with a chipped knife now, would we?
You know, you're operating on rapid impulse here.
This is extremely apparent.
The Santoku sounds like something we definitely know how to use extremely well. It was not an impulse purchase of any kind.
You know, given the arrangement and sort of uniformity of them, it was probably part of a knife set that you bought. You may or may not have ever used it before.
Sounds about right.
Cool, they won't be able to connect our stabbing habits to our cooking habits.
The Santoku knife does fit in the purse.
Yes. Oh,
this won't be a problem at all
can
later.
we just do a brief check of what's in the purse?
Assuming
the Santoku knife
that the body goes along. There's a Santoku knife. There's a partial packet of tissues. There are, in fact, some like little like single dose tear packets of Advil. There are some pads. There's some gum. There's some gum wrappers. There's a small amount of loose change. A slightly bent paper clip.
Is there a phone?
Mm-hmm.
There is no phone. There is no wallet. There is no ID. There is no paper money. But there is a small pincushion with 3 needles and 4 straight pins, as well as assorted loose hairpins and a barrette with a ribbon on it. There's also a small makeup compact. I feel like there's something I'm forgetting here.
Mascara? Concealer?
Yeah. Let's say a couple of sort of on-the-go makeup items like mascara and concealer. And there is also a small but well-worn thing of pepper spray.
Take a look at ourselves in the compact mirror.
Mm-hmm. Looking at yourself, you see.
Also, we're in our own clothes now, yes?
Not yet. I mean, you've identified where they would be, but you haven't changed. You prioritized the weapon.
Let's go for clothes over looking at ourselves, if I may.
Yeah, I guess that's up to our body.
So what do I see in the mirror?
In the mirror, you see
We'll get there.
a face that is younger than the Ukrainian man or the taxidermist, but older than the hostess or the bartender, with sort of a medium skin tone that you've come to expect from looking at yourself earlier, and bags under your eyes, a somewhat shaggy version of a, shorter, pixie adjacent haircut, dark hair, sort of pale greenish eyes that are heavily bloodshot, and a prominent mole on one cheekbone. You can see where there are bruises and scrapes in a couple of places on your face, as well as, kind of some discoloration on neck and collarbone. Those look older. Having taken in your appearance, which is not in itself horrifying, but shows the wear and tear, the next step is probably to change clothes. The clothes in the chest of drawers are honestly actually kind of familiar, surprisingly. They remind you of what you saw the hostess in the fancier bar and the bartender in the dive bar wearing. Dark colors, relatively tight-fitting, but comfortable and hard-wearing.
God help us, we're in the service industry.
Presumably that thought doesn't come from the body, but I wouldn't blame it for
emerging
from the system.
I keep the score.
The body does keep score. We were in the service industry. Now we're
now we're terribly freelancing.
Yeah, I would encourage the body to reach for practical clothes that cover us up, but also allow for mobility and warmth.
Practical, nondescript,
and a hat. Yes. Do I see anything like a hat or something to cover my head with, or a hoodie?
No hats, but there is an oversized... Ooh, I'm going to have some fun with this. An oversized black hoodie with it's a zip up. And there is the glossy red emblem of a human heart on the front of it, split by the zipper. There is no further indication of what it might once have been for. Okay. Or from.
Well, we're wearing that now.
Yeah. Anything that can fit over that to conceal identifying features, namely the heart, or a scarf.
Scarf, sure. You end up in not exactly loose fitting, but
we look like a punk babushka, and I'm here for it.
Like, is it cold outside enough to justify the scarf?
It's cold enough outside that the scarf will probably go unremarked.
Okay, good.
It's not like snowy weather, but it's like chilly. So you end up in the same shoes, because there's nothing as comfy as those, around the apartment. You are in black jeans that aren't exactly like loose fitting, but they are comfy. A black t-shirt with a ribbed turtleneck over it, and then the hoodie and a light but voluminous scarf. Also, not black but gray.
Monochrome chic.
Most of the clothes in this dresser are black or gray.
Monochrome chic.
Yeah. It was not by way of disagreement.
Looking around, do I see anything along the lines of a laptop or calendar or address book?
To-do list.
No. There
Anything
is
with any sort of writing on
a small desk that has a mouse pad and a mouse and speakers on it, but there is no laptop, nor is there a monitor or a desktop.
it. Are there chords indicating that there ought to be?
This is time for a chaos roll.
This is our first chaos roll somehow? That's remarkable.
Second.
Second.
Yeah, there was one very early on. Yeah, there's a charging block for a laptop still plugged into the wall, but no evidence of the laptop.
Do we have any pictures on the desk or on the wall?
The apartment is mostly bereft of decoration. There are a couple of black and white photography posters that have been tacked or taped up. They're reasonably classy, but, not of anything particularly specific or telling.
Mm-hmm. It's not the cat encouraging us to hang in there, baby, but it's also not not like a family photo.
I think at this point we're probably more worried about the thing we have to do today than who we are.
So, I will say this: there's one poster on the wall that is not black and white photography. It is a color poster, pretty worn, with corners that suggest that it was tacked up in a few places before it was tacked up here. And it is a picture of some kind of bird perched on a burning nest made of scrap metal. And it says in sort of green dripping letters at the top, Slag Pie. And then at the bottom, it has tour locations and dates.
At least we know a musical taste.
I was more correct than I knew in saying punk babushka.
Yeah. Did we get the tokens for the clothing objective?
Oh, yes, thank you for thinking about that. Yes, so that's going to be 6 tokens for mind, 3 for heart, and 3 for body. Or sorry, 4 for Mason and 4 for body.
6 for me since I had...
Oh, you had the same one.
Specify
Thank you.
But
yes,
we had the same one.
Yeah. So 6 for body, 6 for mind, and 4 for heart. Yeah. I was right. They are easy come, easy go. So yeah, you take in that poster for a moment, and then there is a very polite knock at your apartment door.
Suddenly I'm seized with an objective, which is to meet a Starless one.
That sounds like a be careful what you wish for.
Does our apartment door have a peephole?
It does.
What's through it?
You look through. You see we'll say young man. Though, mind, your first impulse is kid. Standing there, wearing a white graphic tee with "Who cares" written on it. Literally, the words "Who cares" written on it.
Melania.
Blue jeans and a dark fleece, unzipped. He has sort of a buzz cut and plastic frame glasses, kind of a lumpy face, the vestiges of acne on it. And he's looking very solemnly directly at the peephole.
Do we say anything to him?
Can I help you?
Can I help you?
He says, in sort of an unexpectedly high tone, Joan, open the door.
I don't like this.
I don't like this either.
Hey, I don't like this either.
It's unanimous.
Let's take this time to make sure that door is securely locked.
Good thought.
Yeah.
It's not.
Lock the door.
But you put the hotel chain and then throw the deadbolt. And through the peephole, you can see that he frowns very mildly at hearing this. He says, Joan, come now.
Seems like we can hear each other fine. What are you here for?
Stop playing games, Joan. It's past time.
For what?
Can I acrobatically multitask to see if there's a different way out of this apartment?
Go ahead and roll it. We may put the result on a time release.
3 and a 4. Stick with a 4.
Okay. Yeah, I'll try to let you know if and when you figure it out.
Okay.
In the meantime, Hart, any reply?
I'm gonna roll That's Rough, Buddy, because we're both having a day at the office and a bad one at that.
Sure.
So I'm gonna try to ingratiate this kid into betraying some kind of useful information.
All right, go ahead and roll it. 2 dice.
It's a 5, and for the record, a 1. So
okay. What do you say?
I say it does seem past time, for me to have been alive. And not all sliced up, so maybe we could stop being vague and just talk like people. What do you want from me?
His size, body, you can see it through the peephole, but can't really hear it through the door. And he says, Joan, we've been through this. Someone had to do it. Come on.
Pretend you're explaining it for the first time.
A look of irritation passes over his face, and he says, very well. We've called out in our sleep to the chthonic deep, and it has answered our call. Won't you come out?
Did we just meet a Starless one?
You have no idea.
Yeah, that's a good point.
Ask him if there is a Starless one.
Are you a Starless one?
He sighs. He says, I never thought I'd hear you use that pejorative term, we are Starless ones, if you insist. So, you may go ahead and complete that objective. 6 for heart, 4 for mind, and 4 for body. But also now you have to contend with the idea that you are also a Starless one.
I'm going to go ahead and dump 5.
Some knowledge is its own price.
5 tokens for another bonus.
All right.
Jesus. Yeah.
Yeah, sure. Hit me as well.
Sure. Do your accounting.
I think there should be a logical upper bound to this.
Logic
like
is not
that
really.
There isn't.
Yeah.
So I'm going to change mine to +2 4 now.
Yep.
I'm going to spend 5 more and acquire a new knack.
All right.
And that is, I'm calling it Beyond the Veil. And it means that I can match him pound for pound with whatever vague cultist nonsense he's going for.
All right. Is this the time then to roll Beyond the Veil for the first time?
Yeah, let's take her for a little test drive. Yeah. It's a 3 and a 6.
All right. Well, the 6 is going to be good.
You would dare to call yourself a Starless one. You think you have seen the chthonic deep? You think you know what depth is? You think you can transcend this mortal coil? I have been to death and come back something more than human.
Can I spend 5 tokens to give the truth to that? And just some manner of healing knack?
I'm going to say that not exactly in this moment, but
I'm not saying, like, and now we will heal in front of his eyes. It is more,
sure.
Can that be justification for the existence of a healing knack?
I'm going to say that yes, though it will remain unclear whether you are actually being healed or simply overlooking your injury successfully. The degree to which this is, real versus in your perception can remain somewhat vague. So, Drew, you give this sort of I don't know, diatribe kind of feels right.
Spooky word salad.
Yeah, to the side. And somewhat to your chagrin, but also kind of playing into what you had going on, he goes, Yes, we know. Are you ready now? Will you come with me?
Ask if they took us to the hospital.
Did you, the collective you, I mean, take us to the hospital?
Buddy, he looks, as far as you can tell, pretty genuinely confused. He goes, No, we didn't fucking take you to the hospital. What are you talking about?
Ask where they took us.
Where did you take me?
As far as I know, nowhere. I'm here because there were 2 reports of someone matching your description being thrown out of bars. Figured you'd come back here. We need you, Joan. Come back.
How honest should we be here?
Not.
We don't.
If they were
Bars.
our friends, they would have said they took us to the taxidermist.
That's right.
I think they plan on ritually sacrificing us.
I don't think you're wrong.
I was correct in my prediction.
Does my Beyond the Veil roll still hold, or should I roll it again?
I mean, I'm going to make you roll as often as I can. So.
Sure. Let's see if this
roll
one goes
beyond.
as well. That's 6 and a 1. Okay.
All right.
Can I ask Dez's question? Which is the more interesting outcome?
That's a really good question. Interesting is such a subjective idea.
It sucks being human, I know.
Yeah. Let's see. Let me read your description here. Let's go for the 6 in this case,
Okay.
plus you.
Okay.
But, I'm going to leave it to you to put the English on it.
Sure. As it were. So, when I walked up to the gates of death, you weren't even there to see me, and now you would call me to where? Some piddling ritual, some lesser contact with what lies beyond, you would dare command me?
He does look uncertain through the keyhole, but he responds with, "Of course I wouldn't. But I'm here on behalf of Our Lady." And he lades the word lady with tremendous meaning. In fact, heart, you feel a tug. You feel an impulse to comply based just on that epithet.
Does the brain know which lady we're talking about?
Do I?
I certainly, if they don't feel the
roll.
tug, I convey it. And I say, I kind of think we should listen to him before catching myself.
Sure.
I only
It's just
rolled a
the
2.
one. Yeah. Brain, mind, rather, you feel like you should know, but you definitely don't.
Ask which lady.
Speak her name, coward.
Through the people, he goes stiff. And he says, "I will not." And turns and walks away.
Well, I think that went pretty well.
As well as everything else tonight.
Are there any books?
Congratulations,
in
guys.
this
We were
apartment?
cultists.
Not a 1.
I'm just gonna do like one more acrobatic multitasking to see if anything piques my interest as something that may have a potential clue to whatever dark rituals we have.
Mm-hmm. Oh, and I neglected to tell you, if there is another way out of this apartment than the door, it would be the windows, but they are barred. So you'd have to get the bars off of them before you could go out of them.
Okay.
But go ahead and roll another acrobatic multitasking to try and see if you can deduce where anything that shows what all is going on would be.
I got a 5.
You're pretty sure that whatever your past was, it did not involve keeping your secrets here.
So I think we should get out, but maybe pull a fire alarm so we have some cover.
Should we follow him? Going with him would have been a terrible idea, but maybe we want to go where he's going? Is that a distinction without a difference?
I was thinking we walk the opposite
Probably,
direction
but we don't have any
along
better.
the road to see what other place we've been to frequently.
Body, did you have an opinion?
Fire alarm and then wait a few minutes.
We also, and if the rest of the body and the rest of ourselves agree with this, contemplated trying to recall the apartment number of the lady we were, like the first button that we pushed that was not ours.
Yeah. Virginia, I believe.
Yeah, she did not answer, so we're going to see if
Indeed.
her apartment is unlocked and potentially hide in there.
Okay.
If everyone agrees.
So,
Yep.
No objection. I think it's a great idea.
That pulling the fire alarm and then hiding?
Body.
Yeah.
All right. You walk out into the hallway. You do see where there is a fire alarm. You pull it. You go to apartment. I believe it was 3. And you try the knob. It too is unlocked. You walk in. This is the abode of a sweet old lady without a whole lot of money. She's got a daybed across from her television with a lot of frilly pillows. She's got a small collection of precious moments-esque figurines. She's got a fair bit of rather, well, let's call it vintage kitchenware. And a shelf with books spanning from the 1950s to the present. She is nowhere to be found. In fact, body, it doesn't smell like anyone has been in here for a couple weeks.
Whoop. Snooping time.
Is there anything in particular you're looking for?
I mean, a big old blood stain first.
We can add it all to acrobatic multitasking.
Assuming we don't find that.
None bloodstains in this particular apartment.
With left old lady?
Damn it.
She does seem to have left, yes.
So it's none bloodstain with left old lady. We did it.
You're welcome for the setup,
Adam. I hate to say it, but cash.
Sure. Yeah, roll me a die, mine.
Yeah. And I'm adding this to acrobatic multitasking, so chime in. What should we be looking for?
First aid supplies.
First aid supplies.
First aid supplies.
Any occult?
Phone,
have phone?
Yeah. Cell phone.
Anything occult.
Anything occult, yeah.
Heartily. Yeah.
Okay. I got snake eyes.
Oh, good.
Is there a special mechanic for 2 1s the same way there is for 2 6s?
Sure,
or is
there
it just
is.
essentially a 1?
There is not. It's just the most catastrophic version of whatever you were doing.
Poor Virginia.
So,
Virginia deserved better.
I mean,
so do we.
To me, I think
maybe
that I'm less sure about. Yeah,
suggests either catastrophic ideation or walking formal fallacy. I'll let you decide and describe how you misinterpret this.
I find knitting needles and assume she's knitting occult messages into her projects.
Madame Defarge.
Yes. And therefore has been spying on me the whole time and is like part of the cult and the Starless as well, and that is why she's not here, because she's at whatever ritual is preparing to sacrifice me.
Sacrifice.
Honestly, it all fits together far too well. She was always way too nice. You knew, you should have known, but maybe deep down you did, that she was in on it the whole time. That snake.
Is there a token because it was activated, or that was a consequence? Okay, sweet.
Yeah, one.
You still get one when it's involuntary. Yeah.
Fabulous prizes.
Yeah, the more you look around this apartment, the more you conclude that every single thing in it is connected to Virginia's treachery. Hell, they probably put her here to spy on you.
Yeah, all the pink frills and like lacy stuff is definitely how someone harboring evil things would try to present themselves as good and pure.
Correct.
Does she have cash, though?
Seems her money is still good here. That's a good point.
Tell you what, I'm gonna do chaos roll to see how much money you find.
Thank you.
And roll. It takes a minute, but you do find an envelope labeled tithe with $60 in it.
Yep, definitely a tithe to.
That's pretty chthonic.
Certainly not pretty Catholic.
But we repeat ourselves.
Just so.
Yeah, I mean we're robbing Virginia, obviously, right?
Yeah, obviously. You have $60 now.
Oh, clearly. That money's in our purse.
Oh yeah.
Fire alarm is still going off. Mind, somewhere in the back of yourself, you are sort of like, I imagine the fire department's going to be here any time.
Yeah, we should probably leave.
Set the building on fire on our way out.
Is that a suggestion, or are you invoking an intrusive thought to make it so?
Yeah, I mean, certainly.
I mean, body. Hold on. Let's be clear.
Is there
here.
anything that we can like stage a fire occurring in her apartment?
Does she have any popcorn in the cupboard?
I mean, there's a gas
metal
range,
in the microwave.
There's a microwave. There are hand towels. You could do it.
Yeah. I guess we would leave a hand towel too close to the gas range, as though like a sweet old lady was using them to take something off the oven, but forgot that it was too close to the fire. I don't know.
So, body, is that the course of action?
That sounded like the mind co-signing. So,
yep.
The heart offers no objections. She betrayed us first.
Yeah.
Yeah, this is a very much in character decision that I'm just like,
yeah.
No.
Yeah. So you,
you're welcome, everyone.
you leave a hand towel, just on the edge of a burner that you start up, and you walk, upright, square-shouldered, jaw set out of Virginia's apartment and down the stairs. You find yourself back on the street about the time that you start to detect smoke in the air.
Well, let's start heading in the opposite direction down the street.
Yep.
All right. Hart, would you give me the regular, please? 2 dice.
Sure. Can do.
I can also support with As the Crow Flies like we did last time.
May not need it. 6 and a 2.
All right.
Nice.
We'll see.
You know, you still hurt. There is still pain, but you're getting used to it. You're not bleeding from your ankle anymore. There's a lot less hills down here. And you start walking. And you find yourself in a matter of half a dozen blocks, maybe, outside of a large 2 to 3 story rectangular building with few to no windows, painted in a navy blue with a gray door, above which a lighted sign announces Starless.
Well, we're here.
We arrived at the Church of Scientology.
I mean, standing outside, Mind in particular, this is a club. This is a place you would go to drink overpriced drinks and dance and get rejected by people who are much more attractive than you.
You're not a city unless you have at least one such place.
Well, that's good. And it's also, you know, if Starless is kind of a insult to the actual people, then might as well check it out.
Could be the least harmful ones. Not like Virginia.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I vote we go inside.
It's not like we have anywhere left to go.
You pull open the door, you walk in. There's a hallway where there is a line of people, not an extremely long one, but, you know, a dozen or so, who are waiting to get in. There's a coat check up near the door, and a less large than lumpy woman minding the velvet rope, who lights up when she sees you and waves you forward, much to the irritation of the people standing in the line.
Remember to thank her, even if we have to kill her later, but don't tell her we're going to kill her later.
Thank you, even if... And I can stop.
She nods and she goes, Joan, it's been a couple days. How are you? You look rough.
It's been rough. Glad to be here, though.
I didn't know you were scheduled for tonight, or are you here just for the drinks?
Oh, the drinks and,
She taps the side of her nose. She goes, right, all right, well, come on in.
Why am I so good at that? Never get any information.
And, she pulls aside the rope and opens the door, holds it open. It's not latched or anything. And, you've been hearing the music since you were outside, but as you walk in, you can feel it, not just hear it, just it's a relatively dark room, not packed, but for a certain definition of filled with people, mostly younger people than you, mostly in more stylish clothes than you, with what lights there are being either sweeping stage or laser lights, or just some neon accents placed around the area. Pretty clearly, the whole thing that you can see now does not take up the interior of the building, but you can see places where there are openings in the edges of the room in front of you, leading to other parts of the building.
We go through whichever one seems most
What can I
promising.
do as the crow flies?
Someone else tell me which one feels most promising.
You can. What are you trying to actually, find out there? You have a weird knack for orienting yourself in the right direction, but what's the right direction for you here?
Whatever path my feet feel like they've trod the most. Since
okay.
body.
Yeah, go ahead and roll.
Okay. 5 and a 1, so thank heavens.
You take a deep breath, you close your eyes for a moment, you start moving, and you find yourself behind the bar.
We work at a bar. Fun. Is there already someone else behind there?
Yeah, they're sort of glancing at you between taking orders, but haven't said anything.
Can we smile at them and say force of habit?
We say, force of habit. How are the tabs?
The person who is behind the bar with you is younger than you, and you would describe them as aggressively androgynous. And they say, they're as irritating as ever. Where have you been?
To hell and back.
They roll their eyes. Yes, haven't we all? Are you scheduled to work, or are you just dropping in?
Just dropping in.
Yeah, that one, dropping in.
Well, it is nice to see you, but if you could, get out of my way. It's not the busiest, but I am the only one working on this floor, so...
Ask her if our friends are around.
Let me start again. Are my friends around?
They go, I don't know if they are. Probably upstairs.
You're a stand-up cat. I'll get out of your way now.
Off we go upstairs.
They roll their eyes, and you think you can tell which exit goes upstairs, and sure enough, there's a stairwell there. You follow it up, and the music diminishes behind you, and you emerge into a more evenly, if no more brightly lit area, in which a bunch of people are lounging in booths, on couches, on chaise lounges, one in a recliner, an old and beat up one, just kind of scattered throughout the area on the second floor. The music here is loud enough to compete with the beat from below, but overall softer in tone. It's soothing sounding, if still electronic. And there are a couple of servers moving around, bringing food and drink to the people who seem to be reclining. Otherwise, it's not entirely clear who you might be looking for up here.
Is anyone taking particular notice of us?
Not so far, and as you are surveying the area, there is another small tremor. No one takes extra special notice of it. People who are on their feet brace themselves, people who are reclining sort of attend momentarily, but it passes.
Can I roll the regular to see if there's some indicator we missed of who we might know, or also equally where our place would be?
Certainly.
Is there somewhere we'd usually just sit down up here?
Mm-hmm.
That's 2 6s.
2 6s. Okay.
Does that get us...
Everybody
that gets us one
right?
token?
No.
Or is that affected by the...
Or let me double check.
Or do just I? Someone
Oh,
does,
yeah, no,
right?
no, everybody gets 1 token. Sorry. That was my mistake. Everybody gets 1 token. So.
I'm going to go ahead and spend 5 to bring the bonus token counter up to 5.
Fair enough.
I can't resist that particular bandwagon, me too.
You look around, and you feel a gravitational pull to the left of the room, and it's hidden from your initial vantage point, but there is a large door with a rounded top covered in dark red velvet that is sort of set into a recess. And you feel that you have been here, not just recently, but repeatedly.
Can I set a new objective to figure out who our friends, who dropped us up at the taxidermist?
Yeah, go ahead. Can add that. You aren't right in front of the door. You've just sort of recalled its presence as you survey the area. You feel that you're probably anonymous to most of the people up here currently. Maybe not all of them, but most of them. But you are sure that anybody who does notice you will know that you belong here.
Well, we're at home, huh? More at home than at home, because at home there was that creepy guy.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I suspect the creepy guy may be based out of here. So, out of mind, out of sight. To, be stealthy about the accession to that gaudy velvet doorway.
Certainly, go ahead and roll it.
3 and a 5.
Okay. You are reasonably sure that no one's paying attention to you, and probably won't.
Alright.
Let's do it.
Let's do it.
You head towards the red velvet door, and sure enough, it's where you thought it would be. And you manage to peer around toward it without alerting the person outside of it. It's not so much that you recognize them as that you expected them to be there.
Victoria.
It wasn't it's not any specific person that you recognize. You just knew someone would be there. And of course it would be this person, whoever they are. It's a man about your age with long hair and an ill-advised mustache who is dressed relatively sharply, leaning against the wall to one side of the door and not paying particularly close attention.
Sneak by this guy too.
Not immensely practical. There isn't going to be anything between you and him and the door, and his eyes aren't closed.
Mm-hmm.
He's definitely going to see you. Your choice that you're presented with is what kind of demeanor you're going to enter his vision with.
I think we should keep an escape route available, but wave at him.
We're going to greet him with, like, an expression of cheerful, don't fuck with us, we might murder you.
I lost track of this somewhere along the way. Are we still carrying our stick?
Yes.
All right. So, you round the corner and you give him a cheerful look of don't fuck with us. Roll a die body.
I'll spend a token on it.
Very well. Roll 2 dice.
3 and a 6.
All right. He straightens up when he sees you, and as you approach the door, he goes, do you have an appointment, or,
I will gesture him aside with the stick.
He looks at the stick, looks at you, and goes, right, let me announce you, and you're good to go. And he pulls the door open a crack and says, bartender with a stick here to see you. And before any reply can come from within, he sort of widens the opening of the door and gestures you inward. You walk through.
Does it open outward or inward?
It opens outward.
Okay.
And you look within. It is a relatively nicely appointed office. Sort of a modern style, less like wood paneling and green carpet, and more, sort of spare designs and minimal decoration. And where you would expect to see a desk, instead you have, well, the first thing you think of is pull-out bed, but kind of a little nicer. And reclining in the middle of a truly obscene amount of cushions is a relatively small woman with olive skin and strange dress sense. She's wearing what you could best describe as a heavily embroidered nun's habit in navy instead of black.
Is this a fourth incarnation of Apatia?
With silver stars and constellations embroidered on it.
Okay, good night, everyone.
Wherever we go, there she is.
Her gaze is a little bit vague, and this maybe has something to do with the, well, insensate, unconscious, maybe dead person next to her, who is covered in blood.
Mm-hmm.
And otherwise obscured by pillows and cushions.
Oh, good. This all checks out. At least we found some we can trust.
We have nothing to fear because our blood is no good to us anymore.
Yeah,
She sort
we're
of,
sawdust.
sits up a little bit when you enter, and she
I
goes,
palmed the pepper spray.
she goes, oh, good to see you, Joan. Welcome back. We were worried about you.
Ask if she's the one that took us to the hospital.
Did you take me to the hospital?
The taxidermist.
Don't say the taxidermist.
Well,
I might say hospital strangely, but I do say hospital.
No, of course not. I had some of our mutual friends bring you to a mutual friend.
A friend.
A friend? Yeah. I mean, I didn't survive, but at least I'm here.
She tilts her head a little bit and says, I'm sorry it was so hard on you, but I am glad that you're back. I knew you would come around eventually.
Tell her about the creepy kid.
Yeah, I convey that a creepy kid came to my apartment, and invoked. It did. I lie. I say he invoked her name.
Oh, interesting. Roll a die for me, please.
Okay. 4.
She regards you and says, No, I don't think he did, but I understand. How are you feeling?
Slightly worse than dead.
Well, I'm sorry to hear that. I was really hoping that you'd recover more, but it's okay.
Wait, did I fulfill an objective with her answering that she brought us to a mutual friend of a friend?
I suppose you did. So
We know her people brought us, yeah.
I guess that could be 8 tokens for mind, 6 for heart, and 5 for body.
Obviously the posture is different than with the creepy kid, but I'm going to do Beyond the Veil, and I'm going to try to make this spooky in hopes of shaking loose some additional information.
Yeah, roll 2 dice.
Yeah. Jesus Christ. 2 1s.
Excellent. Most excellent. Incredibly excellent.
It really couldn't be better.
May I make a request? You don't have to honor it.
Sure.
You are in charge here. I would love for you to use stochastic bridge burning as your intrusive thought here.
Oh, Jesus. Okay. Well, sometimes people don't feel that good when they wake up on a slab, stuffed full of sawdust, imbued with a terrible strength, but at what cost? And then when they're stalked in their own homes by creepy kids who say weird stuff that then you won't believe they said, and I need and spied upon by someone I thought was a sweet old lady, but was actually the very depth of human depravity, and I need answers now, or so help me, you'll wish I'd gotten them.
Yay! The woman in the odd get up, blinks at you twice, and says, "Oh dear. You seem confused." And scooting up a little bit towards you, that is to say towards the foot of the bed, towards you, she sort of pats, and she says, "Come and sit. I don't want you to feel attacked."
Still an effect of the double 1 roll. I suggest strongly to the body that we rip off the hoodie and show the stitches.
Pull up the sleeve anyway.
It's a compromise.
Attacked, eh?
Attacked.
focuses on Stitches for a moment and says, Nathaniel always does such good work.
Thought his name was Victor.
Why?
That's not important.
Look, it was very unfortunate what happened, but I am glad that you've had some time to think about it. It really is... Well...
Is there a lighter in the purse?
There is not.
Dez is gonna just set fire to everything.
With pepper spray and fire.
Yeah, no lighter.
This bridge does seem to be strangely flame retardant, yeah.
She says... What are you certain of?
That might be a question for all of us, huh? What are we certain of? Our own undeadness. That Virginia is an exemplar of human evil. What else we got? Precious little else, I think.
I would phrase it that way.
Yeah. I mean, let's say I said that. Including Virginia being an exemplar of human evil. Presumably, we don't even know if she knows who Virginia is. It doesn't matter. We're sure that she knows who Virginia is.
She says, I see. Nathaniel has hidden some of his talents from us, it would seem. And at this, she makes eye contact with you, serious and intense. And she says, and it would seem Virginia hid much from us both. But surely, given all that... And she extends a hand towards you. We're ready to see it through now, aren't we?
Face full of pepper spray.
Jeez. Before this gets too explosive, when's a good time for me to purchase a new knack?
Any time at all.
Okay, I'm gonna go ahead and spend 5 to get myself a knack that I've entitled A Woman's Intuition. Because I imagine I've had to defend myself my whole life against creeps and weirdos, especially since I seem to have worked in the service industry. So now I've got a pretty good radar on whenever someone means harm.
Sure. Go ahead and roll your 2 dice there.
Okay. I got a 6 and a 5. So close to greatness.
Okay. Looking at this woman...
And the body beside her.
I would that it were Virginia.
You are struck by a certainty that she has your best interests at heart, but that she will also not hesitate to harm or even kill you if that's what's best for you. It is a weird combination of things to hold in your head. You're not quite dizzy, but you are certain, equally certain, of both of these things at once.
Can we ask her?
So back to face full of pepper spray?
I mean, again, you do have general power over what physically our character does here, until and unless somebody uses an intrusive thought.
This is me declaring the action.
Indeed.
I mean, so like keeping in mind that you could veto with untouchable because she is holding out her hand to us. Are we asking Des to invoke that? Do we disagree? Mind?
I do not want him to spray her in the face with pepper spray until we...
I don't think I do either, at least not until we ask like two more questions.
The thing to do...
I would probably start stimming at this point and make awkward popping noises with my mouth.
Okay. Your hand is closed around the pepper spray in your purse. It's not especially subtle. You are drumming your fingers against your thigh with your left hand. Your right hand is closed on the pepper spray in your purse, and you're making awkward popping sounds that are absolutely out of place with the conversation going on. And the woman fixes you with a curious look and asks, "What's wrong, darling?"
We need details on what we're going to see through.
Yeah. What is it that we're going to be seeing through? You and I? Or is it just me?
Roll a die, mind. I'm sorry, heart. My bad.
Do I have tokens handy? Yeah, I do. I'm gonna add 2.
All right, roll 3 dice.
The hour is late. That's, for the record, 2 5s and a 3.
Okay. The woman's face falls a little, and she says, "I'd hoped you'd remember that at least. You and I have to save the world."
From, by...
She takes a deep breath, looks up at the ceiling, and intones rather than says, "The very night itself sings woe to the cosmos. The spheres of the firmament groan and shriek with age and neglect as they move, and it becomes song. The very heavens sing O Fortuna, and we mouth along, pretending
untouchable,
to know the words, but
face full of pepper
don't.
spray while she's saying this.
We never can. And yes, you genuinely, in the middle of this, pepper spray her, and she doesn't react at all.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Dick
like a baseball back to her neck.
Mm-hmm. Go ahead and roll the hard way. 2 dice.
I'm putting 2 tokens into this.
4 dice.
3, 4, 5, 5.
Okay. You swing the stick at her, and it connects. Side of her head, she flops down on the bed. Split-second reaction.
Hit her again.
All right. You thwack her again, but her hand shoots up and catches the stick. It squeezes, and you can feel splintering in the body of your stick. She begins to sit up.
Explain that we're a little bit divided.
Broken end through her chest.
Pardon?
We're a bit divided.
Des, what were you saying?
Broken end through her chest.
All right. Give me another hard way roll.
I'll drop another 2 tokens on this.
All right. 4 dice.
6, 6, 3, 1.
2 6s it is. You ram the broken end directly through her heart. Her eyes are fixed on yours as she exhales softly and lays back as though relaxing gently onto the bed. She doesn't bleed at all. But as her back touches the sheets, a fiercer tremor runs through the ground. Not quite enough to throw you off your feet, but much stronger than previously. Your walking stick is out of your hands now. It's stuck in her chest.
I'm not going to go walking around with corpse.
As amusing as that would be.
That's why I go to the gym.
So that you can have a device that's a kebab.
A kebab walking stick.
A walking kebab.
Her eyes still fixed on you as she finishes collapsing backward. She says in a soft voice that you nevertheless hear clearly, "The sea will swallow the stars." And then her eyes unfocus, and you realize she was never breathing. Another tremor, harder, and then it subsides.
Did that go well?
I don't think there was a way for that to go well.
Is there a back way out?
There are a couple of things I think you could probably roll for that.
Okay. I'm gonna do crow as the crow flies to see if I intuitively know some ways out of here.
Mm-hmm.
I got a 2. The other one was a 1, so at least I avoided that.
Mm-hmm. Hart, will you roll the regular for me?
But of course. 3 and a 1.
Okay. Let's see. Body, if you wish to veto me here, let me know. But from what the heart and the mind just roll, it seems like the course of action you might follow would be to sort of hurry, if not run, out of the room and start looking around frantically for an alternate way out that does not immediately present itself.
Yep.
Sure, with the caveat that if we're going out into spaces other people will be in, it will be out of mind, out of sight.
Certainly. Go ahead and roll those 2 dice.
Pair of 5s.
Okay. You succeed in keeping a low profile. The man guarding the door gives you sort of a sidelong look, but doesn't seem particularly concerned, and you move out into the open space, glancing to and fro for a way out that is inconspicuous, unobserved. Nothing presents itself, and there is another strong tremor that lasts a little bit longer. A few people stumble. One glass falls to the floor and shatters.
Go, body, go.
I mean, if there's no back way out, then we go out the front.
All right. You hurry back through the space that you had passed through before. The music seems louder on the first floor than it was before, though that may just be your imagination. And you hurry out the front door. The woman minding the line starts to say something, but you move out of range, out of earshot before she can finish it. You're not sure what she was saying. As you emerge onto the sidewalk, there's another harder tremor, and you hear urgent muttering on the sidewalks around you.
Look up at the sky.
You look up. There isn't as much as there was when you were further up on the hill in the sky. You can see the moon, you can see some stars. But the light pollution here is greater. There are fewer stars. But as you watch, 1, 2, 3, 4, stars wink out.
I think this is a good time to spend a token to ask our senses something. However, I don't know what to ask in this moment.
Can be a council decision.
Yeah, the irony of playing the mind is that I'm rather brain dead right now.
I guess the question
since the beginning of the session.
Was the sacrifice to save the world or to bring about its destruction?
That works.
Let's restate that one more time for the record, because you were a fair ways away from the mic and I didn't hear all of it.
Sorry. Was the sacrifice to save the world or destroy it?
Yeah, go ahead and spend that token. And the answer is both, in a way, but not at the same time.
Well, it sounds like with or without this ritual.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, just choosing what, at this point, what method of destruction we would rather go with.
Hey, senses, do you have any, additional senses you've been hiding away? I'm spending a token to ask this. We've been relying on the normal 5, but is there more that we could perceive right about now?
I'm going to make the unconventional choice to make you roll beyond the veil for this.
Sure, that's reasonable. I'll spend an additional token and make that 3.
Sure.
That's a 4, a 4, and a 5.
Okay. It's not like you have more senses exactly, but when you start to think about things in a self-consciously culty way, you start to interpret the sensory data you're getting a little bit more fancifully. And you realize that what's happening in the sky is that the tide is rolling in, and it is swallowing the stars from the sea. In terms of what your role here is, you aren't entirely clear, but it seems like there was going to be some effort to forestall this, but maybe not to replace it necessarily with something preferable, not given the interaction that you just had. Overall, mostly the feeling that you get is just a sinking in the pit of your stomach and a renewed attention to the lacerations that have been sewn up by the taxidermist.
Should we stroll on over to the Winchester and get herself a pint?
I will prod the stitches.
Wait for this whole thing to blow over.
How much liquor can $60 buy?
Depends how bad the liquor.
I will prod the stitches to see if there is anything beneath them other than wounds.
Fascinating. Give me a roll. 1 die, please. Actually, you know what? I take that back. Keeps the score. 2 dice.
Yep. 4 and a 1.
Prodding your stitches opens a couple of wounds, and you start to seep blood from them, but one not exactly over, but relatively close to your heart, seems to have something there.
Pull it out.
Yeah, pull me out.
What did we win?
If you'll allow me a little bit of editorial control here, you reach into your purse and you pull out the Sentoku knife. Using its edge, you slice the stitches open, and blood seeps slowly around the cotton pack and sawdust that was sewn into the wound. And
regardless of whether it actually takes or has any effect, I'd like to roll Eldritch Acceleration.
We'll get to that in just a moment.
Okay,
you
cool.
Fish around in there, and you pull out a canine. Just a tooth.
Okay, an incisor, not a dog. Got it.
Yeah. Go ahead and roll Eldritch Acceleration.
Do I remember if Apacia had both her teeth?
Mm.
5 and a 6.
It's not like you have Wolverine's healing factor, but the bleeding is slow and getting slower. Give me an acrobatic multitasking roll, Robin.
Okay. 3 and a 1.
All you can really remember when you think back about the woman on the bed is the walking stick protruding from her chest and the warm regard in her eyes as she flopped down on the bed before you left.
Cute. Okay.
I'm sorry that I killed your face.
No, you're good. It was going to...
She killed us first.
We could have gotten more information.
I'm just the body. I was very specifically relegated away from things that would have me thinking
yes.
And the heart had failed as critically as at any point in the proceedings, so not much I could have done. So, how do we want to spend the end of the world?
We can still get more information if we wanted to, however it is late.
Liquor and arson sounds good.
One more time? You're away from the mic again.
Liquor and arson sounds
Perfect.
good.
That's pretty much been our night so far, yeah.
We're just channeling our inner Jason Mendoza.
Excellent poll.
So how do we burn the building down? Well, there's still people in there. How off the walls do we want to go?
Yeah, let's get a collaborative decision for how we ride off into the moonrise here.
I mean, the thing is, we don't actually really have a source of fire here.
Correct.
So, but we do have $60.
Mm-hmm. Which can buy us a lot of liquor and a lighter.
Yep.
A lot of cheap liquor.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
Yeah. But it probably wants a glass bottle, so it can't be that cheap.
Mm-hmm.
Let me clarify. We're making a Molotov cocktail of some kind and then chucking it into the building with a bunch of people still in it. That's what we've escalated to.
I was more or less thinking it could buy this stuff and this. I was not taking any further steps mentally with that. That's that's the body's domain.
I mean, my domain is not.
No, not planning. Your body is you do action.
We've demonstrated that ably.
I can get the things.
Yeah. So we go and we buy a bunch of alcohol.
Mm-hmm. There's a dingy package store just a block over. You walk in, you buy the glass bottles of Skull. As many as you can get, plus a cigarette lighter.
We have the scarf.
How does the heart feel about this? How does the heart feel about this?
I mean, bad, but I don't have a better idea.
I think we should just, get drunk and see what happens.
Burning out the cult that,
Molotov cocktail in case it's preferable to whatever happens.
Are they all a cult in there? The other bartender didn't seem like they were in a cult. They just seemed, rude. Not Virginia or anything.
Yeah. If we find Virginia, we set her on fire.
Obviously. Over and over for eternity. But, not everybody's Virginia.
It just seems like they were all in on it.
Let me roll That's Rough, buddy. It's a 6 and a 3. So I think I attempt to talk my own body out of burning down a club full of at least some innocent people.
All right.
And I think I suggest that there are other things to burn, and I think we should go walking into the night to find them before it's too late.
I support this.
All right.
I shake hands with myself in my heart.
Okay. So what it sounds like to me is that with a purse with 4 bottles of Skull vodka sticking out of it, 1 bottle of Skull vodka in your hand from which you are taking swigs, you walk somewhat unsteadily down the sidewalk, occasional tremors pitching you to and fro, until you come to a retaining wall. Looks out over the last blocks of the city between you and the sea. Behind you, a column of smoke rises from your apartment building. And in front of you, the stars are disappearing from the sky. You take a few more swigs, and then you hear soft footsteps behind you. Feeling rather calmer than you have since you woke up on a taxidermist's table, you turn. There, with a sizable hole in her chest, is the woman in the habit. She sits down next to you, looks at you, pulls a bottle from your purse, uncaps it, takes a swig. She looks out over the sea. You exist in companionable silence for a moment or two, and then she says, I suppose it's beautiful in its own way.
I suppose it is.
She nods.
Could things have been any better?
She shrugs. She looks at the bottle in her hand, only slightly emptied, and she says, I suppose you'll find out. She stands up, sets the bottle down, and she jumps off the retaining wall but doesn't fall. She simply glides, slowly descending until you lose sight of her over the water. Looking up, most of the stars you can see are gone, and the earth beneath you shakes again, more violently still.
I throw some, or if, with the body's permission, I just throw some garbage into the ocean.
No, what we throw is a Molotov.
Well, the fire's not going to impact the ocean. Pollution, on the other hand, is petty.
It's the principle of the thing. It's true. Yeah.
Fire is symbolic, though.
And what is symbolism if not pettiness?
We'll do a
refined?
Molotov. We can do all of it. We'll put the garbage in the Molotovs so it explodes.
If I may, you finish the bottle, you set it down beside you. You uncork another one, pour a little of it onto your scarf, stuff the dry end of the scarf into the bottle. Using the lighter, you light the end of the scarf, wait for it to really catch, and then throw it in a large arc. As it sails, you pick up the empty bottle and look at it, and then fling it backhanded into the rising tide. It splashes, and then the Molotov hits the water with just enough force to shatter, and lights up a small circle for a moment on the surface of the ocean before it goes dark. The sky goes dark, and then all at once, the power in the city goes out, leaving you in darkness. And that's where we'll end this one-shot. Thank you to my players. This was a long one, as one-shots often are. But, I don't know. I had a really fun time seeing where this went. It's always an interesting thing to take a new system for a test drive in a one-shot. And absolutely none of the things that I had necessarily predicted came true, which is honestly better than if they had. So, thanks for joining us. I do hope that our players and listeners enjoyed this little Halloween session as much as I did. It really was really fun. So, thanks for joining us. I do hope our players and listeners enjoyed this as much as I did, and I did really enjoy it. The whole tone and arc was inclusive of some things that I thought might happen, but honestly pleasingly divergent, and this sort of improvisational system is honestly pretty great for that. So I hope this gave you your Halloween vibes in spades, and when we return next time, it'll be back to the closing chapters of Nightfall. If you're hearing us now, you probably know where to listen to this, but we can be found almost any place one can listen to podcasts, as well as on the wider web at dicepunks.com and on Twitter as @dicepunks. With that, I think we're ready to say farewell, so say goodbye to the kind folks at home, players.
Thanks so much for listening, and I, for one, think things could be better, so we'll see.
Thanks for listening, everyone, and remember that if you're faced with an apocalyptic situation, Shaun of the Dead still offers the best advice.
Thanks for listening, folks, and even if you're in a bad situation and don't know what to do, arson is probably not the answer. This is not legal advice. I am not your lawyer.
We had a lot of fun here tonight, but you know what's not funny? Unprovoked arson.
I do like how that was basically your first major line there, Drew.
It's true, huh?
Excellent.
The heart wants what it wants.
And as the poet once said, "This is your time to pay. This is your judgment day. We made a sacrifice, and now we get to take your life." Thank you, dear listeners, for tuning in, and stick around through the admin stuff for an Adam's Ad. The song in this episode, Midnight March for Haunted Things, was written and recorded by the Heart, Drew, based on work done last year in collaboration with our very own Mind, Robin. Cover art is by Joanne, who's appeared on the podcast now and again. Check out her work around the internet where she goes by Anything Sows. Site design and graphics for dicepunks.com are by Robin. Songs of Myself is a free system by RPG designer extraordinaire Erika Chappell, who can be found online in places like Twitter as @open_sketchbook and on Patreon at patreon.com/opensketch. Thanks so much for listening. We'll be back to Nightfall on November 15th, but in the meantime, if you liked what you heard this Halloween, that's reward enough on its own. But if you're so inclined, you can help us out by rating and reviewing us wherever you listen to us, telling your friends who you think would like us to give us a listen, and even by heading over to our Patreon at patreon.com/dicepunks. We have fun rewards available to backers, including a patron-only Discord and access to the Dice Peaks after show for episodes 1 and following. Regardless, we hope you'll tune in again. And until then, remember, subtlety is for cowards! Getting drunk? I mean, I guess plenty of people don't, but probably someone hearing this does, and if that's the case, come to Starless. We have loud, danceable music, colorful lights, hot servers in latex and fishnet, and we can guarantee that you will get drunk, even if you don't bring any money with you at all. As well as plenty of stylish dance floor, we have comfortable private seats and even sofas and other furniture to lounge or swoon on, so no matter how drunk you end up, you'll be comfortable. Every seated guest gets complimentary water and sugar cookies. We even offer a late-night oyster bar, and our main bar menu includes liver sausage rolls, all to get you back on your feet so you can come back and get drunk as often as you like without having to feel any worse for wear. So come see us at Starless. We're so thirsty.